Hello and welcome back to the MMOCircles Tournament semi-finals. Today we have an amazing game up ahead of us, with Imperial's best team up against Cambridge's best team.
So, it's the Imperial team is Icy Monkeys, and the Cambridge team is currently Untitled, I believe.
It is, and it will remain currently Untitled.
It is.
Ironically.
We've got Zaya and Camille bans, fairly strong bans. Camille has appeared as probably one of the strongest top laners and junglers, so she's I think Jez is very fond of the AD carry top laners, so he might have been playing some of that. A Zillion ban? I'm not too sure about. Probably a target pick at someone, maybe Aquan or Pighead.
I know Hayat Way likes his Zaya, so that makes sense at least.
Galio is pretty good at the moment. He's quite a bully top or mid.
Pretty strong combo if they also pick Jarvan.
Yeah. They really want to keep Carney flexing on things that are less mobile. So we might see maybe TF banned. I'm not sure whether Carney's been playing any TF recently.
TF might be a bit of a stretch.
Or Talia.
I'll come back stronger.
We have Imperial on the blue side, as you can tell by the fact that they have the first ban, and first pick. However, they will have the blue side advantage, which is like a 1% higher win rate. And they get first pick, which is probably more important. We'll have to see what they go for. Getting Zoe.
Zoe. Okay.
Zoe has been gutted quite a lot over the... she's not that bad. I think there's a nerf incoming, which is going to basically ruin her, but...
She's just so frustrating to play against, though.
Yeah, she's a very high-skill champion as well, and...
Maybe they're just going to tilt
when your best player's mid, Zoe's a good pick. We've got Gragas, presumably for the jungle. Very solid ganker. His ultimate's amazing at kind of giving you more time to CC or kill whoever you're playing against.
Interesting interactions with Zoe ultimate, though.
Yes. I don't think Zoe's ultimate is actually longer range than the radius of Gragas's ultimate, so if he places it right, theoretically she can maybe change where she goes, but then she just comes back, so
yeah.
Who knows? Yeah.
Amumu is interesting.
We do not have an Amumu.
Oh, I see.
We have a Cassiopeia. Pighead is a Cassiopeia main, I believe. So they
certainly looked like that, yes. So yeah, just a reminder, we are using proxy picks today, so if something really weird happens, then that might be why.
Zach is also a solid ganker. He's probably able to match the role of Gragas. Good teamfight ultimate. Very strong ganks, obviously, with the elastic slingshot.
Certainly similar rules.
Yeah.
And a pretty strong AD carry coming in for the Imperial sides as well. A lot of self-peel.
Yeah, Ezreal's a very independent ADC. He doesn't... You don't really require any kind of support in particular with an Ezreal, whereas if you pick like a Kog'Maw or a more hyper carry, you might want the Lulu or Janna. So it's quite safe to pick Ezreal with it before the second ban phase, because it's not like you particularly mind any support being banned out. Meanwhile,
that makes sense now. Cambridge is going to ban out supports now that they've got theirs.
Yeah.
And as you'd expect, you've got AD carries coming from Imperial too.
I would have liked to see more top lane bans instead of the support bans. Support's got... Well, I mean, there's lots of good support champions left, and you're not really going to be able to cut into them with just that Bard. I mean, Toby does play a lot of Bard, but Toby plays lots of champions, so I'm not too sure whether he was actually even going to play Bard, because Bard against Lulu is not a particularly good matchup.
Well, they did ban the Riven, so that's something, I suppose.
Yeah. Jez is a basically, was a Riven one trick. I'm not sure whether he still is.
If this Caitlyn gets locked in, then it's going to be Caitlyn Lulu bot lane, which is not fun to play against.
No.
Hyper carry potential.
Yeah, they'll have they'll struggle slightly in the mid with the kind of Cassiopeia, Caitlyn. Neither of those are really good mid. They kind of start very strong with a very good lane presence, peter off a bit towards the middle. Cassiopeia, she stacks up her tier, or Roa, depending on what she's building. And obviously, Caitlyn just is renowned for falling off a bit in the mid lane. But then if they manage to make it right to the late game, lots of DPS coming out. Alistair's very strong recently. He did very well out of the various rune changes.
Is Alistair into a ranged support, though? It seems very dangerous to me.
I mean, you're not really going to win no matter what support you pick, really, with Ezreal into Caitlyn. Caitlyn obviously has the advantage of being able to poke through the minions. So you're going for more of that level 6 of gank potential. We see an Ornn. We've got lots of engage tools on the side of Imperial. Zoe Bubble, Ornn Ultimate, Alistair, Zac. They're probably gonna be looking to get lots of wards around on the map, whereas the Cambridge team is going to make sure that no one gets picked off by any one of those tools.
Yes, and now we will jump out of the lobby. This is because of the proxy pick, of course.
Imperial's tanks are pretty engage heavy, so having Ezreal would make sense, so he can play safely in the back and just poke away, whilst the front line just dives in.
It is interesting to me. They've picked a very engage-heavy comp against what is now Shen and Lulu. So if they can blow up the carries from Cambridge, then they'll be doing very well. But they may have slightly more trouble with that than they'd like.
I think perhaps, but they've still got Cassiopeia, and who's not renowned for mobility. Lulu, they've got very, very deep dive with the Zac. So Zac can always jump in and bring at least one of the immobile champions back towards his team, where they'll just get CC'd into oblivion by the rest of the tanks.
Nice, that makes sense. That seems like a good plan.
Yeah, with both Ornn and Zac have very, very deep engage and get right to the back line. And while they do have Shen, they don't have that much auto attacks going on. I mean, they've only got Ezreal. Sometimes you end up with auto attack based top champions. So Shen's kind of damage reduction from his, I wanted to call it Twilight Zone, but I don't think it is. His field is not going to be that effective.
I shall endure.
Very much triple tank from Imperial.
And you might want to put the Shen off on a side lane, but Ornn does very well into Shen. The percentage health shred on his W. So he's not going to have an advantage there that Shen often does have against some of the more pure tanks with less dueling abilities.
So what would you think in terms of rune choices, especially for the junglers? I've always thought that the runes were slightly liquid for junglers, but I suppose for these guys, maybe Aftershock?
I'm expecting 2 Aftershocks. Really, you might, on some of the other tank junglers, you take Fleet of Foot and noticeably Sejuani because they also, a bit of attack speed helps them out.
Mm-hmm.
However, attack speed is not needed for Gragas or Zac.
Could be very funny, though.
It could be very funny. I mean, I think if they wanted to be a bit cheesy, they might go for something like an Unsealed Spellbook. Get for that, the extra smites, and then you can have weird TP plays. But I'm almost guaranteeing.
Well, we'll see.
Aftershocks.
Could be electrocute if he's going full AP for the one-shot potential, but I doubt
maybe
this in this game.
You do see a lot of electrocutes, on the champions that have very good level 2 ganks, like Jarvan is a very notable example. Because that execute at level 2 just deals insane damage, and it's very easy to get a kill that early. However, the level 2 ganks coming out from these 2 junglers is a bit lacking, because they need to take their non-engage tools in order to be able to clear the jungle effectively.
Yes, I would expect relatively tanky Gragas build, since they're playing 2 tanks into Imperial's 3.
Yeah. I think I like Cassiopeia against this team. It's a bit. I'm not sure whether they knew that there was going to be a kind of very high mobility team going on, but Cassiopeia's W with the ground is going to really help them kind of lock down some of the more mobile champions if they can get a kind of good positioning on that.
Yeah, can't arcane shift out of that.
No. And then I think with Cassiopeia and Lulu and Shen and Gragas, they do have lots of disengage tools. We'll just have to see whether they can use them effectively, or they might say Zac might go in, they might waste them all on Zac, and then the Ornn is behind you as well. So I think we've got a very kind of binary interaction here. The Imperial team is going to be jumping in, and the Cambridge team is going to be trying to fend them off as they walk backwards and use their better DPS to try and win the team fight that way.
Yes. So what do you think of the Ignite on Alistair? That seems a bit surprising to me. We've already said we don't expect them to win the lane. It seems like an exhaust might be more valuable there.
Lots of you sometimes Ignite's not always for the level 3 kill or anything. They do have quite a lot of healing from the on the Cambridge team for the Cassiopeia. Obviously, she gets the healing on her E, and Ignite's also useful for ganks and kind of the level 6 fights.
Yeah, I suppose with the Zac engage, it makes some sense.
You only really want to take exhaust if you have very bursty damage on the opponent's team. So if they'd had an assassin mid, I would expect to see exhaust from Alistair.
Right.
But exhaust is now more of a kind of anti-burst tool rather than something you always take.
Clearly, I haven't caught up with the meta.
I've heard lots of beef from Toby when supports don't take Ignite when they
really
very
don't
easily.
take Ignite.
Yeah,
that's not what I'd expect.
He's a big fan of the Ignite in the support role. It also means that you can get some of the fights won in the bot lane that you might not have won otherwise. It's very good for bursting down Lulu that might have extended slightly too far forwards to get some poke.
I suppose that is a significant risk with a non-tanky support.
Because in those situations when you're not going to win a straight up 2v2, you want to catch someone. So the Ignite is better for killing that one person faster, rather than when you perhaps have a more winning lane and you can take exhaust to help you chase them down.
Oh, those borders look so nice.
So we are seeing both junglers take Aftershock, but the Zoe has taken Unsealed Spellbook. Might be interesting to see the flashy play she's going to make around with that reduced summoner spell cooldown and the extra summoners she can pick up.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, I was going to say, it seems odd to me that you Unsealed Spellbook when you get a bunch of free summoners off your W anyway.
But you need your Zoe's not very mobile. I mean, you might. Unfortunately, her ultimate takes her back.
Of course, yes.
And so she benefits greatly from both the increased flash cooldown, because you can flash to get extra range on your Q and flash to bubble people. And also swapping to TP can be very, very dangerous if they don't expect it, seeing it coming. If a Zoe teleports behind you, then you're a prime bubble target, and then you die instantly. So it's more about the map mobility without sacrificing the survivability that you get from taking the heal first.
Yep. We have Cowbell Alistair, which is lovely. Always fun to see. And we have a pause, which is less fun to see. Does anyone know what's going on? Oh, there we go. Whatever it was, it didn't last long.
I am a bit slow loading in, so I will be ready shortly.
I got your back, Jack. Standard line of scrimmage for now.
30 seconds until
Ezreal wandering into mid lane, probably trying to proc the Klepto early just for some free gold, but nothing too exciting. No cheesy level 1 strats. I'm hoping that there'll be some more cowbell coming out at any minute, but
I mean, I'm not too sure about the Klepto on Ezreal. They gutted Kleptomania, especially for ranged champions. So you do see some like slightly different picks on Ezreal. I think Dark Harvest Ezreal is appearing in Korea. Ares also an option. So I have to see. Well, unfortunately, wait. Can you check how much gold they've got now? No, you can't.
I mean, to be fair, in the lane that he's up against, Ezreal, if he could get any free gold, he'll be alright, I guess. You just don't want to fall behind in the lane. That's
but the early gold generation is much lower on the Kleptomania now. The items sell for less. You get less items. Towards the mid game, the melee champions kind of get back some of that higher gold generation, but the ranged champions permanently a bit poorer than they would be before.
That's okay. I've seen Ezreal still taking Kleptomancy, so yes, it has been gutted,
it's not
but
bad.
It's still good.
I'm just there are other options now. You don't have to only go for Kleptomania.
I mean, Fleet Footwork might have been a nice. If it's such a poke lane, Fleet Footwork might have been an okay pick this game.
I could understand that. Yeah, that would make sense.
The level 2, easily
level
going
2.
to Cambridge.
That's not
Nami
surprising.
Numi taking a bit of damage there, but returning a bit to the Lulu as well.
I have to say, I'm glad we don't have a Nami in this game, because that could become excessively confusing. As there's the level 2 for bot lane of ICL.
And fairly standard jungle pathing right now. Might see some action top lane in the upcoming minute.
Yes, both junglers heading top.
Carney flexing, doing some work mid lane. Lots of damage coming out with a bubble hit.
Yeah.
He also managed to pick up a heal, so that's going to help him with his lane dominance. It looks like Gragas and Zac are meeting each other in the top half of the river. Gragas deciding not to go for the fight.
Not the
It
most
probably would have been a bad
exciting
idea. Carney flexing is definitely in a better position to
And
look
top
for
was
that
pushed
fight.
in.
Yes. 2 pushing lanes for ICL, but...
Oh, go in bot.
Oh, yes, bot lane, there's a fight.
Might be a kill with the ignites on the Caitlyn. Flash out and a heal.
So that's both summons from the Caitlyn, and the Alistar still has flash.
And all of the lane dominance gone.
Yeah. So that's why you'd take Ignite.
I
For the,
sit corrected.
for the shorter fights, Ignite's much better. However, Carney Flexen seems to have slightly overextended himself and ended up taking perhaps more
Both
tower
heals
shots
used
than he meant
and
to.
the flash. Might be seeing a gank mid soon.
I would not be surprised. ICL going to shove in under the bot tower now of Cambridge, while the Caitlyn isn't there to pick up any of the farm.
Yeah, a bit of an
Aquaman gonna do his
unfortunate wave placement there. The 3 caster minions just outside tower range, meaning that Caitlyn's
Unlucky.
slightly better than she should have ended up there. But
First base coming in from Carniflexen, presumably just to get back a bunch of health after he got chunked in that fight.
yeah, he also finished the Lost Chapter, so it's not like it's bad back for him.
That's true.
We do have
Cheer
to
for
bear in
Cassie.
mind that Carney kind of has the freedom to throw his summoners because he gets them 15% faster.
Yes, that, well, Unsealed Spellbook will do that for
Yeah.
you, I suppose. Worth noting, Tyr in for Pighead, so I'm sure he's quite happy with his back as well.
Yeah. They definitely did quite well turning that back. It was if they hadn't managed to get that fight going and he had to go back for 750, then it just becomes very painful for the Ezreal. Yeah. Nah.
Top lane's going to be a bit of a wet noodle fight, or at least it should be, assuming no major blunders. Bot lane looks a bit more
Bot
active,
seems to be
engage from
collapsing.
stops.
Then trying to take a fight, he's dealing with
Alistar with the flash and the stun. This is probably going to be a kill on the
Zoe,
Caitlyn.
yeah.
the heal for the movement speed. Not gonna
Lots
quite
of
reach it.
damage.
Oh, the flash in, 2 flashes.
A good rotate there. We saw
Yeah.
both the Zac and the Zoe heading up towards that bot lane.
Pighead's gonna wait for Zoe to face check through the bush, but he might be rudely surprised by a Zac as well.
Gragas coming
Oh.
top side.
Ult in mid lane as well.
Very ambitious there.
There's probably gonna be a kill
that's-
top. Gragas waiting for the gank on the Ornn. I decide to call it off. Minion wave isn't quite under tower yet.
He's hit level 6 as well just now.
Yeah, I don't really see them doing that. Shen is quite low. He can tank maybe 2 or 3 tower shots. We'll have to see whether the Gragas wants to
Here
risk
goes
it.
the minion wave.
It could go horribly.
Zoe running.
He just got level 6.
He's going.
This is a bad idea.
There goes the Ornn ult. Taunt from Shen.
Missed the ult.
it's
This
the
is
ultimate.
gonna be
Shen
just a,
is-
just a kill.
Ooh, he just gets the...
And the ult from Shen to save him, but flexing in's coming top side. And skirmish bot side.
Oh, it's fighting everywhere now.
There's probably gonna be a double kill bot. Oh, Zhonya's used.
Carney
Ult from
Flexin
Gragas top.
having a bit of a bad time in the top. He missed the Q. And,
Flash
Thank you,
used.
Steve. Very nice.
And the TP coming in. Fights all over the place.
Can't keep up.
Ezra connects to Q.
Ooh,
One
Ornn
with
goes with a
ambitious
flash. Doesn't quite connect. It looks like the Lulu will be able to get away unless the Zac can elastic slingshot over the wall. I don't think he can go far enough.
Caitlyn coming in. Oh, the flash comes in.
Flash. We'll have to see whether
Trap
the
set up.
Oh, early Q though. Oh, we'll get the pass.
I don't
Shen
think
TP'd in
Jez
behind.
can-
Oh,
Flash used. Taunt chain.
There was almost no chance of Jez saving the Zac there. He should have just left. A bit overextending there. And that
would you like
ends
to
up...
attempt-
That was a lot of action.
would you like to attempt to analyze what just happened?
So
Because there
there
was
was
a lot of it.
a 1-for-1 in top with the Gragas diving the Ornn with a quite good series of power swapping and the stopwatch coming out. I know Carney Flexin did go up and pick one of them, but the Gragas managed to lower his health enough that he couldn't persist and get the 2
No
kills.
time, more action. Bot lane engage.
Might just be able to walk away from this one. The stun comes in and the ult.
Oh,
and
the
the
Lulu is
ult.
only level 4.
That is a lot of damage.
This bot lane is definitely swinging hard towards the Imperial side.
Ooh.
After that, the massive pile up that happened in bot lane, Nami Nui finished, came out of that with 3 kills and made his 4th one. He's gone straight for the Muramana, which is going to help him stack up even faster.
The tower is
Well,
almost going to fall now.
yeah.
This is not what you expect against Caitlyn Lulu. Getting absolutely
No.
destroyed, I'm afraid.
Unfortunately, with your Lulu only level 4, there's not much you can do when the Alistair jumps on top of you.
Gragas hovering around
Meanwhile-
mid.
Yeah.
Zoe has her flash up though.
So he just used her bubble trying to get a kill
Ooh,
off of
with
The ult missed. This is going to be... Zhonya's used. The entire Imperial team's collapsing though. Salvage
kind
this.
of unnecessary stopwatch there. There's not much he was going to do there. Perhaps he thought his jungler and support was slightly closer. However, that was a good gank by Gragas. Well timed as the Carney Flexin was looking for a kill, so he used some of his important cooldowns onto Pighead, not knowing that the Gragas was there.
They seem to be coming topside as well, maybe hoping to catch out the Flash's Ornn.
Ornn
wards in the
seemed
river.
completely unaware of that. He gets caught by the Shen taunt.
And this
Gragas
is gonna
body
be
slam.
just chained up. and an easy
Cassiopeia
kill.
making sure he can't flash away with the miasma, and that's an easy kill.
He also doesn't have flag.
Yeah, and that.
Meanwhile, Drake being taken by Imperial's side, trying to salvage what they can.
Cambridge
Someone's
is
coming
gonna
in
try and
from
take the
Ezreal.
top tower.
Not enough. Alright, clear.
Drake down. But the Cambridge might get the top tower in reply. Though Ezreal is there to try and clear. And he does a lot of damage.
So there definitely seems to be a kind of trading of sides of the map. This Ornn is not having a fun time in the top lane. Meanwhile, the Israel, however, from the bot lane is doing very well for himself.
I don't like Lulu sitting in bot lane with the Caitlyn while they're pushing against no opposition. Though they are recalling now.
Yeah, I don't think they fully anticipated that swap. They probably should have, but...
It's also quite dangerous for them to be even up that far, especially since all of their support's top lane. There's a Zac wandering around their bottom side jungle at the moment.
Well, they had vision of both Carney in the mid lane as he's trying to get some top turret damage, and the bot lane was also top, so they were fairly safe there. However, they probably needed to commit to either pushing down that turret or swapping much sooner, because you're just going to end up getting the worst of both worlds as both of your turrets go down and you don't get anything.
Cambridge really slow to the rotation there as well. Just losing a turret that they could have otherwise defended. They had reacted a bit faster, I think.
There's the TP of the Zoe minion kill. That'll be a free base and return to lane for her. Or indeed anywhere else if she'd rather go there. Nope, back to tower. Now we've got 2.5 pushing lanes for Imperial. And the full lane swap in effect, so Ornn and Shen in the bottom lane.
Probably
Shen's
gonna
ult
take
is up.
the Rift Herald to crack down the last outer turret mid. We might be seeing something in the bot side river.
Yeah, we see Ornn collapsing onto the Cassiopeia. Pighead was trying to regain some of their vision in that side of the jungle, but he stays slightly too long. A very good bubble from Carniflex and blocking off the jungle path that he would have used to retreat. Nicely played there.
And just as you said, here comes the mid lane, except they might not even need the Rift Herald to take it. Cambridge is going to give this one up, and probably quite correct.
Zac attempts to bring the Gragas over the wall to his team, slightly overestimating his ultimate's range. Ezreal ultimate coming out for that more...
And Heralds, we might be seeing another tower. Sleepy Bubble comes in.
The Imperial team definitely lacks wave clear, but the Herald should be...
Going in on the fight. Trap set all over the place. Gragas might could jump in for the ult. No, just used for disengage.
We saw both the heal from Carniflex and Nami Numi there coming out to save Ioxa, the Zac, from the turret there. Who then proceeded to die against blue buff. So for the next fight, he is not going to have his passive. It looks like they were happy just getting that turret with the Rift Herald, and they're probably going to go and pick up the minion waves they're building on either of their side lanes.
Also, blue buff taken away from Cassiopeia. Removes her ability to spam very hard.
She has got her Monomonican and the tier at 400 stacks now, so it's not too bad, but it is going to prevent her from being able to stay on the map for a long time and keep pushing those waves. Fun.
6-ish K gold lead now for Imperial at 14 minutes, so totally even game, right?
Yeah. We see near 1,000 gold lead.
Alistar trying to catch up the Cassio mid. Stun comes in, no team to follow behind, sadly.
Nothing was lost there, so I can't say that was a bad play by Alistar. Just instilling a bit of fear into the hearts of the Cambridge team.
I think they're afraid enough already. I would be.
If the Cambridge team hadn't been there, then Carniflex would have managed to catch up and secure that kill, so it was just testing the waters there.
The vision score tells an interesting story at this stage. Basically, twice the vision score for ICL as Cambridge in the jungle and in support, where you'd expect the vision score to be high. If you just look at the map, it's covered in blue wards.
The unfortunate thing about taking the blue trinket is that you can't stack it up without opponents there, so the Alistar would have finished his Sightstone much faster than the Lulu did. And he's also been constantly buying pink wards with the bonus money that his team has been getting him.
Bubble lands on Caitlyn. Alistar
Alistar
goes in on the
coming in from the
Cassio. Might see a
side.
note come out. Gragasort used.
Petrifying Gaze did hit the Ezreal, so he's forced to jump out. We now see the kiting abilities of Ezreal.
Ornn coming in with his ult. Shen meanwhile fighting Zac top, so he can't TP in.
The Ornn ultimate managed to hit 3. However, it looks like the disengaged tools from the Cambridge team were enough to get them out without any casualties.
Well, Zoe going in, nothing happened off that.
Just no casualties.
Important to note that Ezreal has just finished his Muraman at 16 minutes, so he is on the damage side.
That's pretty fast. Dragon spawning now. I suspect they might fall back to that. It's an Infernal too, isn't that?
No,
It's not an Infernal, it's a
cloud,
Windbreak.
it's a cloud drake.
I thought it was an Infernal. My mistake.
The only icon is the Infernal icon, unfortunately.
Oh, I see.
I
Frustrating.
believe that's a relic back from when the only dragon was the was that color.
Good old days. Oh well. I'm sure they'd rather have an Infernal, but they're not going to complain about a Windbreaker.
Zoe moving up top, trying to catch out Shen.
She does not manage to hit the bubble. However,
The
the
Ignite
Zac-
comes in. Dash away, Zac misses the ult, and Bubble misses.
nicely
Anti-cheat.
played there from Ricky 312 on the Shen. A couple of good dodges there, making
He's
sure he
just too
gets out.
tanky.
So how do you think Cambridge gets back from here then?
Well, I think that perhaps
Wait,
having
meanwhile,
such an
Zac jumps in, dodges the ult, Shen TP coming in, but not enough. We might see the Ornod follow up. Ezra on the side, dishing out the damage.
Oh,
Caitlyn flashes straight into the ult. Ezreal jumping in, heal burnt. Gragas, what a combo to catch out the
Oh.
Ezreal.
That was a nice cask.
Well, yeah, what I was about to say there is that probably the way that Cambridge comes back is because they've got such a engagey team that can jump far forward. The Imperial team might end up jumping a bit too far forward at points, like the Ezreal did there, and you can kind of collapse on that one person and then just retreat. However, we did see both the immobile Cassiopeia and the immobile Lulu getting caught out by that long-range engage and being taken down. So it's going to be a balance of trying to bait out perhaps one member to jump too far while not letting them get onto your Cassiopeia, Lulu, or Caitlyn. They could always come back at Baron as well if the Imperial team decides to do so. Looks like Cassiopeia is going to be getting her blue buff this time if Caitlyn didn't accidentally crit it.
Nope.
There we go.
Safe and sound.
We see that the vision has kind of died down a bit, but they have all gone back. So both the Tracker's Knife and the Sightstone are going to be refreshed. So we should see some wards coming back out again.
Cassiopeia has not quite finished her tier yet, despite the Ezreal having finished his for a few minutes now. That's a very fast tier completion from Ezreal.
Yeah, he opted straight for the Muramana instead of going for a more lane dominance because he didn't need it at that point.
Also, 2 complete items for Ezreal versus Caitlyn's Shiv and soon-to-be finished BF, Infinity Edge, which is a bit
Well,
off.
you say soon to be finished, but she
There's
has
another
She has
1,000.
100 gold, so she needs another 1,200-ish. No,
Yeah.
even more than that, because she hasn't got the agility cloak. About 1,400, I believe.
Zac trying to catch out the Gragas in the jungle. Lulu Polymorph comes in. Ezreal dashing in.
We see the Miasma coming into play there, just stopping the Imperial team walking forward through that purple mist of doom.
Baron
Minions
has
trying to
just
get top
spawned.
tower.
Ezreal coming out to try and save that turret, actually. Managed to do it.
They've actually started the Baron.
The Oaks are going very low.
They have vision of all of the Cambridge team, so they are well aware. Well, they know that the Cambridge team aren't aware that they're doing it. It's just a free Baron.
Yeah. Imperial spent like most of the last minute and a half in Cambridge topside, so they know there was no vision around. They cleared it out. Very clean Baron and a great call, I think.
I mean, even if Cambridge had known, they have no vision nearby, and that entire area around the Baron Pit is warded up, so it probably would have ended in disaster if they tried to contest anyway. Unless Chokibus could have tried and stole it, but beyond that, they don't really have the damage required to take that fight.
It feels so bad to be Akuan in this game, man. You're 2 levels behind everybody else. You're on a squishy Lulu.
Yeah.
4. What can you do?
That was some nasty damage coming in.
You
Lulu
really...
being the hero and tanking the last hit. Meanwhile, Ezreal poking away mid, trying to force down the turret.
It's just siege mode now with the Baron buff on. There's almost nothing Cambridge can do about it. They just need to hope for Imperial to make some sort of horrible mistake.
Yeah. With the Baron buff, they're opting to apply that buff to all 3 waves. All 3 lanes, the Ornn pushing up the bot wave, while the others... They don't have enough hard engage to be able to
Engage
punish
top.
Shant
anyone.
comes in.
However, yeah,
Heal forced out of Zoe. Trying to collapse. Meanwhile, Ornn's keeping Caitlyn busy, so this might be...
Oh, flash.
Flash comes in. And the heal out from Caitlyn.
unfortunately the Ornn ult misses, so Ornn's gonna have to retreat. Shen hits the taunt, but the Ornn just jumps out. He's slightly too tanky to die from that.
Oh, look at mid.
Meanwhile, Ezreal just taking the turret. Probably gonna force down the... TP coming in from Carniflexing, who changed it with the unsealed spellbook. But meanwhile, engaged bot side. Oh, that doesn't go anywhere, but Caitlyn just cleaning up with the Lulu.
The Imperial 3-man group perhaps deciding that they weren't getting out and just deciding to buy as much time as possible for Carniflexing and Aminumi.
It's worked out.
TP coming in from behind, though.
Yes, Cambridge is going for it. They need to do something.
Alistar knows he's coming in from behind.
Ezreal is fairly far forward. We might, if Lulu can manage to get a slow off.
A sleepy bubble comes in, might be their chance to run. Lulu flashing in,
Very...
and Carniflexing just popping the Cassio like she doesn't exist. Sleepy bubble lands, just Zoe. Since Zoe being a balanced champion, 0.25 seconds, by the way. And this is just going to be, I mean, this might be game actually.
the Imperial
It's so
team,
early on, but you
the
might
Imperial,
be right.
oh, sorry, the Cambridge
It's gonna
team.
at least be an inhibitor top.
No, I think
They're
that is
going for it.
the Cambridge team seemed to get a bit overconfident after getting those 3 kills spot and not respecting that they can't really just flash straight into Zoe's and Ezreal's. They needed to wait for the Shen to get around and the Gragas.
That Lulu flash was a little questionable, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, well, they are alive. They're going to put up a fight of it, but it's probably only a matter of time now, I think.
We see Cassiopeia nearly dying to the
Zac
minion.
charging up his jump. Jumping straight onto the backline, called both Cassio and Lulu. Nice ult comes in to disengage, but it's just too little too late.
Well, that was a bit of a stomp.
Yeah, we saw the bot lane just being outclassed. They should have respected the kind of level 3 spike from the Alistar with Ignite. You need to play very... While you might think that the Caitlyn Lulu is a strong lane, it's also a very delicate lane. You need to play at just the right range where you're not going to get engaged upon, but you're also close enough to poke them down and deny farm. And we saw that the Toby there was capable of playing the game and getting in on top of the squishy Lulu with his Ignite to get that first blood that then spiraled everything out of control. I don't think that was first blood. I think he just got the last there. I've accidentally left the lobby, so if anyone else wants to talk about damage graphs, go ahead.
Sure thing.
I mean, we can pretty
Let me
much
see.
see that Ezreal, when he came online, like at 16 minutes with his Miramana and Triforce, just the damage output was insane. 90k.
Yes.
It's just like you add the 2 most dealt damage from the enemy team, which was the Shen and Caitlyn. That's saying something, and you can't get to Ezreal's damage on his own. Just purely
Yes.
out damaged.
Yeah, the two carries from London proving that you can play 2 carries, 3 tanks, and still do an enormous amount of damage if the enemy team can't get any damage back in return. That Cassiopeia damage is sad to look at. But then again, they were presumably hoping to get slightly later in the game than 20 minutes.
Yeah. We will have a short break as we set up the lobby once again, and then we'll be back for game 2 of the series.
Guys, this is Cambridge versus Imperial, MMOCircles sponsored tournament. We are now going on to our game 2 after an Imperial victory, with Cambridge now on blue side, Imperial on red side. Looking forward to what we'll see this game.
So, yeah, what do you want to see from, well, more importantly, the Cambridge side to perhaps try and garner more of an advantage in the pick ban? Because obviously what they had wasn't quite working for them.
Well, last game they kind of got squashed in laning phase, mostly by hard engage from Imperial, so perhaps some sort of disengage would be nice to see.
Yeah, we see a Zoe ban there. They were obviously not a fan of playing against that.
I can't say I blame them.
I want to see them mixing it up in the bot lane. I think the bot lane was their biggest weakness there.
Would you say it's an execution issue or a draft issue?
Perhaps a bit of both. Maybe they
really
aren't particularly comfortable on, well, particularly the Lulu. I didn't feel like he was very comfortable on that champion.
My experience as Aquan is strong on his engaged supports, and not so confident on the utility.
So I want to see a bit, perhaps a more comfortable support, even if it doesn't quite match the kind of comp they're going for.
Interesting to see the Janna ban there, because I would have thought Janna would be an excellent disengage option, and maybe Imperials identified that Cambridge might not want to be engaged on quite so hard, and they've gone for Janna.
Yeah, Janna's very strong in general.
Yes.
However, in banning the Zoe and Zac, they did leave Riven open.
They also picked a Gangplank.
Yeah, I'm not sure about the
or rather, into an open Riven.
Gangplank is a very good champion, but you don't particularly want to be first picking him because,
Riven is
especially when you've got a Riven one trick on the enemy team
counter
with Riven still open.
This could go real badly.
I'm not very confident for Cambridge just from that. Jez is a very good Riven. I believe he got to Masters one tricking it. So
perhaps Ricky has enough confidence in his Gangplank.
Hopefully.
I would be
Pre-nerf
impressed
Gangplank
if he has enough confidence in his Gangplank.
Yeah. He might.
Maybe he has confidence in the Gragas.
Yeah, we'll have to see. Well, hopefully he'll get lots of jungle support and not get the Jez on his Riven rolling.
Of course, it could always be a bait and switch. Maybe they're putting the Gangplank in mid lane.
Maybe. Hopefully.
For their sake.
For their sake.
I would certainly be surprised, given... I think you'd be better looking for a Leprechaun than a game of Gangplank on Pighead 10's history. But maybe.
We also see the Bard coming out for Toby. They're picking up two very comfortable picks that they didn't manage to get last game.
A Bard.
And Carney Flexen is slightly renowned for playing a lot of Rise.
I won't be denied.
Morgana ban is interesting. Is that to stop the prevent the prevention of Riven engages?
Well, Morgana does very well against Bard, preventing a lot of that poke they can throw out. And also when you've got a Rise and Riven, two very high CC champions, then you also want to throw that.
Oh boy, it's full murder time in bot lane now.
Bard Draven is a very dangerous lane.
That's a lot of damage.
Bard does a lot of damage, Draven does a lot of damage.
It could even be electrocute Bard if they're really feeling it.
I wouldn't go that far. Maybe an Airy.
I would.
A Comet.
Yeah, but I see Comet. Probably Comet.
Most likely. I think it's interesting looking at both sides though. Like if you just looked at blue side's team composition, you think it's obvious. This is a good strong team fight team comp. And then red side looks like, hey, we're picking fun champions. So
Cambridge had stolen Imperial's bot lane from the last game.
Oh boy.
This will be a proxy pick, I presume.
Oh, is it really?
What is it? Do we have any word? Unless it's Teemo mid against the Rise, the classic counter.
No,
so this Teemo is a proxy pick. We'll find out shortly what it is.
Could have been Teemo top lane as a Riven counter and then Gangplank mid. Great team comp. Stick with it.
We see Jax not going for the easy engage on the
Jack
Skarner.
jungle liver Skarner.
I would have preferred the Skarner. They don't really have much in the way of tank on the Imperial team.
Right, so we've dodged. So I'm assuming Teemo is something. Oh, it's Cassio. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Production was not told that it was Cassio.
But Cassiopeia against Ryze, I think Cassiopeia wins that
It's been the
for
classical.
quite a long while into the game because while Ryze puts out a lot of DPS, you're also in Cassiopeia's range, and she puts out even more in the early game.
I have to say, I am disappointed.
So
to be better.
I'm giving this to Cambridge personally. I don't, not Cambridge. Sorry, wrong team. I did this Imperial. I don't see the gangplank being very useful.
I would have given it to Imperial after the first 2 picks of this.
Yeah.
But we're looking at
I
this
mean-
based on an individual player skill. If we
I don't
consider
think you
team
even need to
composition,
be.
one of these teams
I mean,
has a team composition.
Riven is picked in the LCS specifically as a gangplank counter.
Very true, but we
So under
we
almost
can't decide the game on one lane,
yeah. So the gangplank's not going to be very useful for a while. I think the Gragas could possibly be the linchpin that Cambridge needs to turn it. He should be a much more effective ganker. So if they can get an advantage using the Gragas before the Jax kind of scales to a point where they can't touch him.
It's an interesting choice to opt for the scaling Jax jungle, considering if this blue side Cambridge team gets ahead, their team fight's unstoppable. The Imperial will have no opposition.
I would have much preferred the Skarner from
Absolutely.
Imperial.
They have the snowball bot lane, the snowball top lane.
Yeah.
Pick a snowballing jungler, pick Skarner, pick Lee Sin, just kill them. That seems like what they're going for, but then again, we're seeing a lot of these picks seem to be comfort picks or fun picks.
You've got to assume that with the Riven in top lane and the Draven, I think.
Exactly.
It'll be interesting to see if Cambridge can make as much use of the Ezreal Alistair as Imperial did last game.
I think, well, Alistair is very good against Draven. He can do lots of things to disrupt the Draven picking up his axes. So we'll see whether they can try and keep that lane that possibly they shouldn't win. Like we said, the Imperial lane shouldn't win last time in a position where they perhaps can take advantage of the lack of mobility on the Draven.
So do you think that Imperial College is speedrunning this game?
You cut out slightly there. What do you say?
Do you think that Imperial College is speedrunning this game? They got 24 minutes on the last one. They've picked snowballing lanes.
Perhaps. I don't think the Ryze pick is necessarily a speed running.
No, okay. With
champion.
the exception of the Rise.
With the exception of the Ryze, yeah, possibly.
Maybe Lee Sin in the jungle would have.
They've got to hope that the bot lane, Imperial bot lane, doesn't start winning, because that's going to be big trouble if they do.
Mm.
Considering how hard the Ezreal managed to snowball, I doubt they want to see how hard he can snowball on a Draven.
So looking at other details here, we have the cleanse pickup by the Cassiopeia, very smart against the Rise route. The Jack stun and the Bard stun are probably the biggest CC offenders that we see. Whereas Rise opting for heal, not fearing the Cassiopeia ultimate. I suppose he can always turn around, right?
Fancy footwork.
Yeah.
Definitely trusts his own dodging ability.
I'm not sure what rune you take on Rise anymore, but it might be taking Unsealed Spellbook. So if he does start to lose, he can swap that over.
Yeah,
but he
that'd
might
be
be taking
absolutely
Comet, because I believe Comet scales very well with Rise, so I'm not too sure. I'm not much of a
It's bold of Cambridge to pick a scale to late team like this when they got destroyed quite so quickly in the last game. I would have thought they might go for a bit more laning presence.
Yeah, I would have. I mean, I like their team, but I think that the Gangplank pick, you've got to assume that Ricky 312 is very comfortable on Gangplank for you to first pick that.
Yes, I think
So we'll see whether he can make something work there, and perhaps not regret just picking a kind of hard engaged top laner, perhaps taking the Ornn or the Maokai.
If though we ignore the top row and look at Gragas and Jax down. Gragas, Ezreal, Alistair, and I suppose not so much Cassiopeia, but Gragas, Ezreal, Alistair is still pretty scary for the bot lane to. They have to respect that pretty hard.
Yes, the Draven is not a champion with dashes, so
No.
if he steps too far forward to catch his axes and to deal lots of damage, then he's liable to get bodied.
The Gragas and Alistair in particular can do lots of damage to the Imperial team. They don't have much in the way of. They're basically fully reliant on Bard, perhaps trying to keep the people away, because you don't really want to use your Jax stun as a defensive tool. You want to use it so you can jump in and stay alive.
Worth noting that. Sorry, go. Okay. Worth noting that no matter how far behind the gangplank falls, there's always going to be that cannon barrage contribution to bot lane as well.
Yeah, so. Cannon barrage is going to be quite useful, especially against a Draven. Again, with no mobility and quite short range, any slows that you can put on Draven are very effective at kind of hobbling his ability to dodge or deal damage or stay alive in general.
On the other hand, Bard with his ultimate is very good at delaying and possibly counter-engaging with the Rise ultimate coming in as well. It's not a bot lane that will just roll over.
No.
Unless they are completely overextended, in which case they'll meet their fate. And I believe we should be loading in now for our second match, Cambridge versus Imperial. This is the final Cambridge team in the tournament. Currently Untitled.
And the winner of this will be playing against me in the final.
And it is Electrocute Bard, so
hey, fair enough.
I'm very happy to see that. It does a lot of damage. It's very fun.
It's very easy to proc Electrocute on Bard. Obviously, your auto attack counts as 2 procs of it, so you just need to hit Q and then an auto attack, and it goes off.
We're seeing a pause already.
I'm in game, yeah.
I'm in game, but it's frozen for me, so.
Yeah, we have.
There we go. Back to normal.
Okay. Slight production issues, I believe.
It's interesting. We had a very brief pause at the start of the last game as well.
I would be very worried about the Electrocute and Ignite on Bard. They need to make sure that they either get level 2 first or are nowhere near the Imperial lane when that happens. Otherwise, that could be a very fast kill.
I believe we're good to go. So, fairly standard keystone choices all around that we were commenting on. The spellbook on Rise, indeed. Lots of flexibility with some of the spells.
I didn't know that you took Predator on Riven.
This is...
hold on a minute, we've got a 5-man stack.
The Imperial walk in? No, nothing happening here. Scouted out by the Gragas barrel. Just flagging a few motes.
Aquan's taking the opportunity to get a ward on blue buff.
We'll see if this vision pays off for Imperial. Clearly they respect Gragas is going to be the key focal point for this early game to work for Cambridge. And all the vision is important.
Does anyone know, is Predator Riven the...
Predator Riven, something innovated by, I think, Adrian Riven himself, the challenger Riven.
Okay.
Somewhat memey of a choice, but absolutely can be done.
Yeah.
Very strong roaming if you expect you're in a lane where they'll just be farming all day long. You just win the map everywhere else.
Worth noting, Eoxa got a ward onto Cambridge's blue buff as well, so there is a symmetry of information at least. They should know that Gragas is starting on the bot side.
Yeah.
Very true. And we see standard bot lane pulls here, no special cheeses. And straight to lane. So from the junglers, we expect they will do their standard 3 camp to top lane.
Yeah.
Red or blue to wolves to buff.
Jax
to wolves
could
to buff.
try and do something with the Counter-Strike leap, but it looks like it's going to be the normal 3 buff.
So what do you think of the relative merits of the minion dematerializer for Karna Flex in mid lane?
Minion dematerializer is very good for timing your backs. You can use, if you have a slightly iffy lane control kind of early, or if you've got very good lane control, then you can use it to really push the lane into a position where you can go back and grab your like early tier in Ryze's case without having to lose too much. You just throw it on the cannon wave and you're good to go basically.
Trade breaks out in top lane. Aggression of Jez onto Ricky. Nothing much happening.
Ricky really needs to get as much damage down as he can for level 3 because that's when becoming close to the ribbon is very dangerous.
An engage from Aquan, but diffused again. Small trades, not much. No, not too many risks being taken anywhere here so far.
Well, there was a ping a minute ago from Pighead asking for assistance in mid lane, so I assume that was probably accompanied with some voice communication. He's not just flaming his jungler.
And we
With a
see
potential gank in
Exo
top.
moving up top, hiding in the bush, not spotted out. This is jump stun, comes out. Oranges, and he flashes away. Ricky escapes with just over a bar, having had to blow his flash.
Yeah.
Easily
Perhaps
a
he could have
repeat
flashed
gank
slightly sooner and
Counterplay in
avoided
bot
that
lane.
damage. However,
Here comes the
Aquan
Gragas.
And then exhaust, Gragas flashed body slam, and the Draven's locked down, and he goes down first blood to Chocobus. And then another fight breaks out mid lane, but diffused again.
a good gank there. The flash from Aquan, making sure that nothing could go wrong there, locking down the Imperial bot lane. We see Gragas making use of the immobility on Imperial's lane side.
Jax is top again, looking for a repeat here with the flash down.
And the flash stun, and Riven follows up with the flash Q and the kill.
There you go. Not quite, perhaps respecting the range that Jax can get there. Probably,
Absolutely, with the Chocobus showing bot lane, we expect Exo would stay around top side to mirror the Gragas and keep applying pressure on top side, taking the Gromp camp away.
Pighead took a big chunk in mid lane there, but Chocobus was there to back him up, and Pighead's just going to base now. Can't
we do
flex,
see
push
that the
wave
kill went onto Gragas, perhaps not ideal. They perhaps would have maybe preferred to have it on the Ezreal. We'll have to see whether the Gragas can make use of that money elsewhere on the map and perhaps try and get one of the other lanes rolling with it, or just keep snowballing this bot lane. While Draven can snowball very easily, he's also quite easy to snowball onto because short range, immobility, very easy gank target.
That's a nice
Especially
pink
Gauss.
ward from Jez in the river there. Have an appreciation for players who will do things like that rather than
As
place
aggressive
them
as gank like again. Short trade. Finally coming out from Ricky.
I have to say I've been impressed so far with Ricky's survivability here. He did die, admittedly, but he did get both of the flashes for it. And it did take a significant chunk of Aoxer's time to kill him. So the Riven one trick to master is...
And we see Chocobus
Not
looping around
completely
here for a repeat gank. No pause.
Well, we don't.
An unfortunate pause there.
Hopefully not a strategic pause by any means.
Oh, I wouldn't dare say that. Aoxer's in the river and bot side as well, so it could be a bit of a fracas in bot lane.
So looking here, what might happen? We see the Draven flash down. If Cambridge is making sure they're keeping tabs on this kind of information, they should absolutely focus him down. He shouldn't be able to escape here. The distance Jax is from the lane is too far.
I don't suppose
find backup.
production knows what the pause is about. Okay.
While Draven doesn't have flash, neither does Gragas or Alistair. So with the
Oh, there we go.
And we are resumed.
Pause over.
it looks like he might get out. There we go.
Not
However,
quite in.
Iox are not deciding to
Jumping
go
on.
to the bot lane, instead trying to get some damage down mid, but is perhaps paying the price for it as he nearly goes down there.
That
He
was
got
very
unfortunately
close.
out of mana there.
Big head. Oh, out of mana. Unfortunate there.
Chocobus hanging around in this bot lane. Looks like he might still be trying to get something. But the bottom side river is well warded from Imperial, so I don't think he'll be able to stop.
The
engage
next
from
flash
Aquan.
coming out.
Arcane shift forwards, and then stun on Draven, and he falls down to the gangplank ultimate from Ricky here.
Yeah.
So well synergized engage here, but with no participation from Chocobus.
Predator popped from Jez. Doesn't look like he's going to be able to get anything
perhaps
out
he
of it.
was trying to capitalize on the fact that the Gangplank was looking bot.
And a stun from Pighead, but doesn't connect. He still plays forwards. He's going. Noxious Blast doesn't connect. Jogwas lands the body slam, but still level 4, stunned by a Goxa. And the stopwatch comes out from kind of flexing before he pops down, and the flash from the Noxious Blast, and he survives.
He didn't get poisoned by that last Q there, so he didn't die to the Twin Fangs. That was very close.
Very tight flash, but perhaps held on way too long, considering how much had to be blown there. But seeing Ailsa possibly looping around for a return gank? No.
I wouldn't risk it.
Fairly low. He shouldn't be hanging around like this.
We have an Ocean Drake up in the bottom river. Neither team looking that interested in it yet, but Imperial has put the ward in Pixel Brush.
And blue buff goes over to Cassiopeia here in the mid lane.
Thickhead will be happy about that after last game.
It's interesting to note here both junglers are pretty much lacking behind their solo lanes pretty heavily. I mean, we've got Pighead level 7 in mid lane and Chocobo still level 4 Gragas.
However, Aoxa is 2 levels above the Gragas, so...
Just having gained another level, yes.
Yeah.
Engage from Jez onto Ricky. Roamed down by Pighead into the bot lane. Pops the scrying Bloom, which definitely gives that information away. We see bot laner moving up to react.
Yeah, here comes Sups. Miasma's good. Cut him off. He has the
We
port if
might
he wants
see
to go
the
for
Rise
wall.
ultimate coming out to cut him off.
Sups flanking him as well.
However, there is a pink ward in that bush that brought out the Rise.
And Aquan's moved up here, possibly looking for an engage, but they're outnumbered here. They can't take this fight. The priority's not there for bot lane to react.
However, Hayat's Way has now got a level advantage on the Draven after staying bot there.
And a significant CS advantage.
There is a reasonable amount of CS in the bot, so if Namu Nami can go in.
But the bot lane move up
Bigger.
to cut him off perhaps.
Yeah, they really want to keep him off this minion wave, but slightly too late to catch him rotating. He does
So-
miss a couple of those minions, so I think the Cambridge team did quite well from that little rotation skirmish that happened there.
They're also looking around for something in mid perhaps. The vision being cleared out by Aquan here.
The gold is more or less even so far, and I have to imagine that that's good for Cambridge. They do have the late game scaling, and I was really expecting them to do slightly worse in the laning phase here, but they've held on very well.
We see Riven getting a bit more damage down on Ricky. I think he keeps going in, trying to bait out the orange, and then he'd go in after that. But Ricky's doing quite well to hold that and prevent the all-in from Jez.
As long as he has his oranges, he'll be K. Big head stepping very far.
Yep, so moving around mid lane here, possibly coming in for the gank. Kind of flexing out of mana. Aquan responding. Goes for the headbutt. Stunned.
That interaction.
And situation
Jez is
diffused
here
again.
too.
Just roaming down.
The Predator pops
Pick up
again.
the
Here he
Predator.
comes.
We have flash on this Riven. That's a cleanse, that's a flash, stun. The Gangplank ult comes out. Aquan is a stun.
Ooh,
And the kill goes over to Pighead. Stops him move down for the Cosmic Binding, but does not land.
lots of damage coming out there from the Gangplank ultimate and the...
Also a kill in bot lane. we
Alistair.
missed.
Oh yes.
Nami was standing very close to Cambridge's turret for some reason.
Meanwhile,
Well,
we
support
see
was
Chocolate's
in
picking
mid
up a kill on Nami here.
That's very odd. I don't know why he was there.
It was, yeah, he was just farming and Gragas came up and body slam, explosive barreled him.
It feels every time Imperial wants to make something happen, Aquan is there really to either defuse or counter engage.
You definitely can tell that he's much more comfortable on this champion than he was on Lulu.
Absolutely. Put him on the roamer and he'll make pressure. Chocolate's meeting Subs in the river. Nothing happening just yet. Everyone's just resetting here.
Still no one's going for the Drake. I would expect someone to go for it at some stage. Particularly Imperial. They might be able to get enough pressure around it. They've certainly got enough vision around it, and they're going to need Drakes if they want to go late against Cassiopeia Gangplank.
Speaking about vision here, let's look at the wards out from Imperial's side. Just comparing the warding contribution from Aox compared to Chocobus. The rivers are lit up, shall we say, for Imperial.
It was very similar last game as well.
Yeah.
Imperial does seem to have much better vision control in general.
Aox are taking a peek at Chocobus in his jungle. Sweeping lens comes out.
Aox is very deep here.
Seeing the blast going over into the Dragon Pit, and he'll walk away.
Pighead stopped his roam down.
Aox is definitely trying to keep putting pressure down, make things happen, and you think he should. This is showing why the jungle pick is really not bringing in its power.
No.
Not an early game jungler, but trying to do early game jungler things. The Draven's nil 3 isn't going to be impactful for much of this game, really.
And it's going to be a while until Jax starts doing Jax things. When you're building the Cinder Hulk, that's not particularly synergetic with Jax's kit. So it's going to be a while until anything starts coming of this Jax pick. That
We didn't touch on it all that much, but there's actually no what you would consider a 100% tank on Imperial's side. The Jax is the closest thing they have.
Yeah, I think that's probably why the Jaxes ended up going for Cinder Hulk.
That makes
Rather
sense.
than maybe a Warrior or whatever the attack speed one's called.
Blue buff passed off to Carniflexin now, so he's going to be happy with that on his rise. He's looking for something in the topside jungle here. Not quite sure what he's
and
looking
kind of
for.
flexing are moving in. Chocobus
Chocobus
is
is
blind,
gonna face check.
walking in. It's bound and ulted by Riven, and he's down. And just blown up there without any time to react. Doesn't even pop the explosive cask.
Yes, I
Yeah.
can't imagine he expected that they'd be waiting for him there. It was a slightly odd place to wait, but I suppose it worked out.
The lack of vision is really showing from Cambridge.
Yes,
These kinds of
definitely.
plays shouldn't work. You should either know they're coming, or you should realize that there's so
Yeah.
little vision that something could be coming. And the blue
Could try
will
and
be
steal a bit
passed
of
up to
blue
kind of
buff now.
flex in, it seems.
Perhaps
Nobody there from
Pighead
Cambridge
won't be
to-
feeling better about last game.
But we've been seeing kind of Flexen has had push priority on this Cassiopeia for the entire laning phase, so it's easier for them to make these kinds of plays. The Rise has
gonna
more
have-
opportunity to move.
He's gonna have levels 11. He just got level 11. That's a massive increase in the range of an ultimate. So I expect to see Carney perhaps starting to try and get behind people with his ultimate and make things happen.
Ult burned in mid lane.
A very good
Jack's
Jax
starting
hit
the
from
Herald
Flexen.
But meanwhile, bot lane now close to getting the first tower on bot lane. An ultimate from Aquan. Aquan engages on subs on bot lane. A stop push comes out. Teleport coming down from Jez. The Gangplank ultimate followed. The Draven ultimate. Jez arrives, but a moment too late to catch Aquan here. He seems to be comfortable walking it out. Jez continuing the chase, knocked away. Hit by the Cosmic Binding, and taken down. Meanwhile, Cambridge players don't seem to be reacting, seems happy to leave him be. Perhaps they didn't feel they had enough necessary pressure with
Yeah.
Pighead 10 going down in mid lane, meanwhile.
Yes, Pighead just made a mistake there.
That was
Pighead
it
just
was
solo
a,
killed.
a beautiful play from Carniflex in the mid. A very, very minimal backstep to dodge the Cassiopeia ult, making the difference between him winning that and losing that.
And clearly he shows he doesn't need cleanser. Jez moving up to jump on this Gangplank here. The stun is still open from Aoxo, pass waiting for the oranges. They don't continue the dive, no mana on the Jax.
Yeah, unfortunately,
down
he
from
just
the
got the
Jez.
mana for the counter strike right at the end there.
Carniflex engaging on Pighead, Pighead then getting brought low.
That is a
Chopper's
lot of
walking in.
damage.
We see a lot of MR on the rise, really helping him easily win those 1v1s against Cassiopeia. And
Oh, and Aquan is looping around for the Gangplank. Yes, stand decided, but it still knocks up. The Bard ultimate lands onto Hate's way. And Aquan's being brought low by the Draven. No ultimate from the Alistair. And he has to flash away. The flash up, Bloody
jungle
Sambo,
too.
Chocobus. The explosive pass knocks him closer. But Pighead can't. Ricky coming in, he flash auto, gets the kill. Carniflexin has to run now. A flash stun from Big Ed, but does not connect. Carniflexin is still running away. Ricky following with the barrels, following with the parleys.
We see good use
Kind
of
of
the
just trying to run away.
Carney Flexen to get the
And
shield.
the stun from Aox, and Sub's taking down Picket 10 in mid lane. Aox is still chasing Ricky here.
Oh,
Cambridge
it's all
is
devolving again.
Cut up all into little bits after such a nice lead.
Oh,
And perhaps a greedy chase there. The kind of Flexing was able to output so much damage onto the Cambridge side there as they were trying to chase.
Yeah, good
fancy
use of the
footwork.
passive to get the extra attack, speed and the shield, delaying long enough for the Jacks and Subs to arrive.
And Hate's Way jumping onto Draven on bot lane, flashes forwards, does not make the final kill. The Q cannot connect with the minions in the way. Perhaps a over-eager flash from Hate's Way here.
yeah, he smells blood. He wants in.
He was slightly too early on the second Q. His Iceborne Gauntlet hadn't come up cooldown yet, so he didn't get the second slow there.
That is the first real gold lead of the game. There was about 500 gold for Cambridge earlier, not very much. It's now 1,000 for Imperial. Those set of kills coming through there, just about pulling them in.
That's the first blood type goes over to Hate's Way.
And forget
Just-
everything I said. We're back to even again.
Makes a huge difference for the goal, definitely. And meanwhile, Draven, what is he sitting on? Double BF sword. Nothing complete for quite a while. While Ezreal hits his power spikes on his next back.
Rise ult now.
Horizon once it comes down onto bot lane, Subs chasing with the stun. It does, and the Jack stun, and he's down to counter flex him.
Yeah, they really need to be aware that the Rise has the long range ultimate now.
Oh, and then
Stay
moving on
behind
to
it.
Picket 10 in the mid lane. Jet
Picket
gets
is
stunned away. Aquan knocks him up. He's stuck in the miasma. And he stuns, taken down by Aquan. And they now run for their lives. The ultimate comes out from Bard. The stun, will it connect? Picket 10 stunned down by Exo, taken down by kind of like Subs here. And then Aquan, again, running for his life.
Good cask.
Cambridge, when things are almost looking so good, they go so wrong. And Draven also comes in, does not hit Aquan. He walks it
Jocko
out
is
through the side.
Double timing with his peel here. Doing his very best to protect Aquan as he limps away from that fight.
And they bring in
That's
Shelly
out.
for the mid lane here, and the mid lane tower has no chance. The wave clear is enough, and it one-shots the tower.
While Gangplank has been doing quite well for himself in the top lane, he hasn't been matching the roam from Jez. And I think that Jez has been making his presence known more on the map, so I'd like to see that TP from Gangplank being perhaps used.
They could
A bit
contest
more.
happening over this red buff down in the blue side jungle. And they'll just be jumping onto the Ocean Drake instead. Seems like Cambridge are looking to contest here. Chocobus is there. The smite is up on both sides. They're not risking it.
The Imperial
I
team
mean, I'm
did
not
manage to
feeling
pick up the return tower kill in the bot lane, bringing back a bit of their gold lead. Only now 250 gold, but
We see Cambridge are making trades. They're not favorable trades. They're close to being good, but then something always goes a bit wrong. Picket 10
Yeah.
possibly overextending here, though. Oh, he gets a stun onto kind of Flex, and kind of Flex stuck in the miasma. He's exhausted, knocked up, and he's taken
there.
down by the Poisonous Fang from Picket 10.
once again Aquan exactly where he needed to be. He's
It's
Jez
been
popped his Predator there, but he couldn't quite get in before Counter Flex and dropped.
Picket 10 also pulling the trigger when he sees it, and this time it paid off. No sidestep from kind of Flexing this time. Makes all the difference.
Connor Flexen has used his Summoner's Spellbook and he's now on the cleanse. Pighead started the game with his cleanse, and Connor Flexen's obviously decided that now is the time when he doesn't need the heal as much as he needs to not get locked down by Pighead. Oh,
yeah.
Let's say-
Vision pulling back a bit in favour of Cambridge as well.
Connie Flex and go ahead.
Looking at the rival vision scores makes we see Aquan's hiding behind in the Baron pit, ready to jump on the Aosa here, so perhaps spotted out here. The Hex Flash coming out from
X-Flash.
Aquan. And he cannot find the headbutt pulverize, but he's moving on to
Looking
Jez
for
instead,
Jez.
who's now overextended. It's knocked into the wall, knocked up. And meanwhile, the stun comes into Pickhead, and Jez taken down under the turret.
That was good layering from Aqua.
Sights
He
of
knew
the
that
gate.
the W would stun him into the wall, so he didn't need to use the full combo at first. He extended the stun duration using the pulverize after the stun from hitting the wall that already worn off.
Slightly
miscommunication.
wasted explosive cask, but they got the kill, so there's not much that the Imperial team is going to do to try and defend this turret, I guess. They don't really have anyone there. they might lose 2 turrets if they're in the collapse now. The Imperial team does not have much in the way of wave clear, at least long range wave clear. The Rise needs to be fairly close.
Here, I feel like we're seeing the lack of team composition in Imperial really breaking down here, and the Riven pick, meant to be this hard counter, really didn't pay off. Perhaps even with successes in the roams, the Gangplank ultimates had huge effect for Ricky, and he perhaps exerted more pressure without the need of a Predator Keystone.
Yeah, it's been very well played from Ricky, definitely. It's a very tough lane, and he's been doing really, really well.
Maybe he's a Master Challenger player, who knows?
Maybe.
Looks like a Baron is being flagged up by both teams here. Imperial are securing vision, and it's blind for Cambridge. They need players over. Hate's Way is still on bot side jungling, but Cambridge are confident Imperial aren't looking to do anything here.
Interesting to note that Eox has actually gone for the Trinity Force after his Cinderhawk, so despite the lack of any dedicated tank and the fact that they're not exactly snowballing this game, even if they are slightly ahead, he has decided that it's worth having Trinities rather than just a thing like Deadman's.
Well, you need something to kind of justify the Jax pick. If you went full tank, then you might as well have just picked a tank. So you want to try and make at least somewhat use of the advantages that Jax might give you with the bonus damage.
And we're seeing a siege from Cambridge onto mid here, and Imperial's players are not in position. We have Rice farming, we've got Riven farming top. It just goes down for free to Cambridge, and that's huge map pressure.
That's even gold again now. Even gold this late in the game is good for Cambridge, I have to imagine.
Cambridge making constant back and forth trades is excellent when they have the scaling composition, and Imperial really ought to have wanted to win by now. This is almost 24 minutes, isn't it?
Yes. Not quite looking the same as last game.
So the pit area is swept out well by Cambridge, but there's still back vision behind them from cleverly placed wards, which perhaps Jess could flank teleport to. So Cambridge are moving into mid lane, perhaps looking for an engage here, but this is not all 5 members. Ricky's still near top or into the river, and he does not have teleport.
Okay,
Predator popped. Used on minions, not the engage Imperial were looking for.
I just checked Ricky's op.gg, and he is a Gangplank main at least. His most played champion last season and this season. So we can see that they definitely had.
And then engage from Ekwan, and Eos is taken down. Bardo does not help. And Chocobus perhaps looking to follow up engage. Nothing happens here. But now the Baron, absolute possibility for Cambridge here, and without their jungler, Imperial are looking for a very hard time to steal this or contest, really. But they're looking to do anyway. There's still the flash stun from Such does not connect. The Hex Flash, the headbutt pulverize, the flash stun from Cassiopeia, the explosive cast knocks Draven into the team. Just running for his life. Ultimate doesn't use it, get anything with Wind Slash, and then Pighead 10 carrying on the chase. He'll run away from Nami. And it's falling apart for Imperial. Where you feel none of your champions synergize well, it really shows in this kind of fight. And everyone trying to make plays.
Rise has the damage, but he doesn't have the front line to let him.
Oh, and Jay flashing forward, goes in, gets the kill. Pighead 10 securing that one. And the Baron goes over, easy smite for Chocobus. No real contest.
Imperial are hemorrhaging at this point. They just need to reset. They have to give up the Baron, but at this stage they should really just be focusing on trying to get back control of their side lanes. This hasn't gone the way they wanted it to, but they can't afford to just keep running in and dying.
Absolutely. It's almost a solo queue kind of plays. You see they run in bleeding one member at a time. No synergized engage, and still trying after you only have 2 members of your team left. You still try to go for the re-steal when you have no smite, and losing a free player for it.
So what's next steps then for Cambridge? They've got this Baron that they can siege up with, but what's the kind of lane assignments that you would be expecting?
Put the Gangplank on his own. He can easily take one person of it.
And we see Jez is moving up with the Predator to Ricky here. Is he caught out? The barrel goes off, he's running, there's oranges, and he is not taken down. There's no CC to pin him down, he can just keep running. Oh, and he goes for the flash auto and he kills. This is the 1v2, and the ultimate comes out, and there is no contest.
Boom.
Easy kill for Ricky. This is really showing his Gangplank prowess.
terrifying now.
It's almost like he
Junglers over
heard
to
us.
blue side as
He
well.
heard our doubts and decided to show us what he could do instead.
And now they're looking to siege into mid lane. They've got the Baron. They've got 2 Dragons there. The Mountain Drake too, making tower taking even that bit easier.
You've got to wonder if there is a potential game 3. If
Oh.
Imperial will be looking into banning
And
away
Acer gets
that
taken
gank,
down by Ricky into the top lane.
and there you
And it's
go.
all falling apart. Chocobus perhaps engaging onto Carniflexin. This is the last chance Imperial have.
There's still bleeding kills everywhere. They haven't stopped since the Baron. They just need to get people back together and get them on the same page. Can't afford to let this gangplank keep going. He's got the inhibitor turret now.
But what can you do? You lose the split, you lose the team fight. How do you counter this?
Well, you have to at least take the team fight, I think. At the moment, they're taking the split, and it's not working for them.
Absolutely, that's very true. We're seeing both top and mid inhibitor towers now gone. Inhibitor's wide open, and Cambridge with their strength, easily 5-man run it down. You're talking about the gold lead. Now the gold lead is Cambridge's, and that's 6,000 gold.
So what do you think are the biggest contributors to Cambridge kind of flipping the tables onto Imperial with compared to last game?
I suppose it probably comes down to simply mechanical execution in lane. Last game, they lost so many kills to just a lot. They shouldn't have dropped those kills that they dropped. They had a winning bot lane, and this time somehow they've managed to translate this certainly less winning bot lane into fewer mistakes, which has meant that they've done well in the late game with their late game composition. I think a lot of it comes down to Aquan's happiness on his.
Oh, and Pega has caught out here. Flash stun from Aox, but the stun from Jez and the knock up from Aquan. And Pega's blown up, but the explosive pass comes out. Jez taken down, Aox taken down. Teleport in from Ricky. And Carniflexin's caught out from the side, and he's going down. No chance. Headbutt
Good
pulverized.
catch onto Pighead, but it's not going to be enough.
And that was probably what we're looking for. The team fight engage and Jay jumps forwards and goes down to Ricky with the parley.
Ricky is a monster this game.
Yeah, I think
This is
there
the
were
final
2
push for
big
Cambridge.
things this game. The
And it's
Imperial
how-
team didn't ban Gangplank this game, which I'm almost certain they'll do next game. And Aquan definitely looking much better on this champion. He's been everywhere where he needs to be, making things happen around the map for his team.
Well, looks like we will be going to a game 3 after all.
And that is a game 3 for us. Cambridge versus Imperial 1-1. And we've seen the strong sides of Cambridge, strong side of Imperial. We really wonder, what are we going to see in game 3? What do we want to see?
I've got to expect a gangplank ban. That was just too much punishment. If you can't beat it with the Riven, what can you beat it with?
Something which is meant to be the hard counter, right? And this person's signature champion.
Yeah, I can't imagine them not banning Gangplank. They've got. I don't see why they'd pick Jax. I feel like perhaps they were underestimating the Cambridge team after their performance in the first game. Maybe taking it a bit easier and thinking of taking the Skarner, but then swapping it to the Jax just for more fun. But that
Absolutely.
definitely punished them.
This is a game to respect Cambridge for. And the super snowballing Draven Bard lane not paying off. We see Chocobus absolutely identifying how to win this team that game. Just gank that lane. Just kill that Draven. And
It will be interesting
can't
to
do
see
anything.
if Cambridge maintains their Zoe ban going into game 3, or if they've forgotten over the last half an hour quite what that did to them in game 1.
Yeah,
And
we can see
then-
that Carney did the most damage out of any champion, but he didn't have the team to let him do that in the late game fights. The Jax and Riven were just being blown up way too fast, leaving him exposed. Meanwhile, as expected, Ricky with the most damage for Cambridge, followed by the Hayat's Way.
All right, and then I think that's for us for now for game 2, Cambridge versus Imperial. We will be going to a short break now. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back soon for game 3, the decider. And we are back for Game 3 of our MMOCircles sponsored tournament, Cambridge versus Imperial, the last Cambridge team in the standing, currently untitled. Now blue side still after a coin flip, and they giving Cambridge choice of sides, and they took blue, and Icy Monkeys on the red side. What do we think is going to happen this game?
I expect to see a slightly more competitive draft coming out from Imperial. I think that they kind of dropped the ball a bit there, and they're probably gonna bring back some more of their kind of like hard engage play style that they really worked for them in the first game.
Perhaps trying too hard to win in style.
Yeah.
I would like to see Gangplank banned. I don't think that Imperial has any good answer to that.
Although we did comment on the late game jungler being a very dubious pick, and maybe the Riven plus an early game jungler, hypothetically, would be a much
that is the
stronger
one
counter.
alternative, I think, is to take something that can really get on top of that Gangplank in the early game and make sure that Riven's ahead enough that she can bully him.
Absolutely. Although there was, we did see Alexa pay a lot of attention to the Gangplank in top and taking down Ricky, but it didn't seem like it was enough. You know, Ricky held up his own and managed to get way back in the game with good ultimates.
Yeah, there were 2 early ganks actually from the Eoxa into top lane.
The flash and then the kill.
Enough, yeah.
Camille ban out from Ricky first.
Yes, they don't like that Camille, do they?
No, I guess they don't want to let the.
It's interesting they fear the Camille far more than the Riven.
Apparently, yes. That's surprising.
Yeah, you can pick Camille, and then if you don't get a good matchup in the top, then you just put in the jungle, and it's just as good. There's the Gangplank ban.
See the repeat Zogan and the Gangplank.
Not surprised. And yes, Zac and Zoe from game 1 not being allowed to cross.
No problem.
And then the Ezreal ban taking its way off his Ezreal.
So they didn't like that Ezreal in game 2 then.
The Ezreal was a really good, nice, in the back, constant pressure, and
yeah, and he's very safe as opposed to lots of the other kind of in the back pressure ADCs like maybe Jinx or Cogmore. So they're taking a bit of that safety away from the Cambridge team if they decide to pick it.
This Gragas has been good for Chocobo so far. He's like to have this one.
Yeah, I'm not. I don't know whether someone plays a lot of Zillion, but I would maybe perhaps the Gragas ban over the Zillion ban.
I expect Pighead might go to Cassio again, since he's done it in the last 2 games. He obviously likes it, and they haven't seen the need to take it off him.
And we see Zyra Khan locked in for Eidsway and Aquan here, which is what we wanted to see. We want to see Aquan on these engage supports. The Aquan Rakan gonna make stuff happen with good map pressure. And the Sejuani Braum also very standard coming out from.
Yeah, we're seeing
Icy Monkey.
The Sejuani Braum is a good combo. Obviously, they synergize very well, and they've definitely got more of a kind of segregated. They've got the people that are going to be standing in the front, taking the damage, and then they're probably going to have Tristana and probably another high DPS mid laner for Carney. Maybe Rise again. Maybe Azir.
I would think it dangerous potentially to take Rise when you know that Pighead would love to play the Cassio into it. So I wouldn't be at all surprised if they banned Cassio away here.
Carney did very well against the Cassiopeia last game, so I don't think he'd be too worried about that. But he might not want to take it against the Rakan and Gragas, as they can get on top of him very easily.
Interesting to see the Tristana here. Will be interesting to see if they can buffer their rocket jump properly against all of the CC that's already coming out from Cambridge.
Yeah, I mean,
although the Rakan ultimate into the Grand Entrance engage cannot be Tristana buffered because the charm will prevent any rocket jump, I believe, if done well by Aquan.
Is the Cassiopeia ban away from Pighead, so he's going to have to find something else to play this game.
Expecting Talia? Yeah. Talia, very good champion. Something that I expected Carney to play. He's got good wave control, and once he hits level 6, he can really roam and make his make his presence known around the map.
Seems that's what Kanye's keen on doing with the rise in
Yeah.
Talia. He wants these ultimate roams. He wants to make stuff happen for his side lanes, and I believe this will be a proxy pick. The
I'm going to
Teemo lock
assume that's a proxy.
will
pick.
be a proxy. I'm sure for a champion for Pighead, I presume.
Yeah.
I would
Just
like
to see
to.
what the final top lane pick is here.
Let's find out
So
from production.
It's a Teemo. Teemo Ziggs.
Here from
Okay.
production, Ziggs is the mid laner. Another one of Pighead 10's very proud picks. Very
Yeah.
Love
Very-
this.
So the
It's
Shen
a-
lock-in
Shen.
from Blue Side, from Cambridge.
So we saw the Shen in game 1, and it wasn't all that impressive, but then again, Cambridge was getting stomped in just about every position on the map, so it didn't have a huge amount of time to be
Yeah.
impressive.
I think
Malawi last pick, and then we'll drop out of the lobby because we'll come back in for the Ziggs pick.
Ziggs is probably a good punt. Okay. Well,
So-
I think the Ziggs is a good answer for the Talia. He can kind of match the lane pressure, and even if he himself can't follow the Talia as fast, his ultimate, similar to the Gangplank ultimate, can provide at least some assistance for the side lanes if they find themselves getting ganked.
And we should also probably be looking at these 4+1 Ziggs from long range. A man like dives on bot lane. We have a
Yeah.
Gragas and we have a Shen, but a Razaya or a Khan. Nothing screams more, aggressive than that.
Ziggs also has the option of not following and just taking down that mid turret very, very fast.
With a satchel charge, yes.
Yeah.
I think
I'm
it's a really nice.
disappointed- Oh, go ahead.
No, you first.
I was only going to say I'm disappointed that neither team has taken the opportunity and after the proxy picks to spell words out in the bans.
I like pizza. That's one of my fan
I
favorites.
feel like your point's probably more important than mine.
The Pighead's Ziggs pick here, although perhaps not entirely for the composition, knowing Pighead's champion pool, is also really nice to add sieging pressure for Cambridge team because Zyra is not a good sieger as far as 8 carries go, especially not compared to Tristana. But Ziggs, absolutely with the short fuse and the satchel charge, can melt turrets.
Take a good look. It's the last you'll get.
So we haven't seen Sejuani before now. I believe she was banned in one of the games. But I suppose the priority on her has gone down slightly, hasn't it? Times.
But with the Sejuani Braum combo, it's such a strong combo. It's interesting that I guess Cambridge have to concede it, given how many power picks they had to ban out
Yeah.
for Icy Monkeys. But
And how much priority they seem to put on their Gragas.
Absolutely. Definitely Chocobus not wanting to stray from this pick. But I feel again we're looking at which jungler can make bot lane explode the hardest. And it's better for Exodia here now. I think Sejuani is a lot stronger than Jax.
Yeah.
But
And I
time will
think the Tristana Braum lane is going to be much less susceptible to being ganked than the Bard Draven one was.
Tristana sitting on Ghost Cleanse at the moment. I'm assuming that's going to change at some stage.
Or perhaps
Hopefully
a
they,
spellbook Tristana, and this is some incredible strategy. I'm not sure. I mean, if we're trying to provide merits, I believe Tristana can cleanse rocket jump out of even a knock up because the
There you
rocket jump is
go.
a dash. So perhaps it's to live against the level 1 Zyra can't cheese, but
Hasn't
Maybe-
changed it yet.
Maybe
I'm
he
not very clear on this.
forgot about put them as a banter and then forgot and went AFK to get a drink or something.
I find it hard to believe
Oh no!
Imperial would
Oh,
let that
no.
follow through.
Oh no!
I think this is
Oh, it's swapped.
it switches. Okay,
Oh.
perhaps a client bug then on our side.
Ooh.
Would be more likely. So these are now we're looking at far more standard some of the spell choices here.
Yeah.
The
That's
cleanse from the
true.
Ziggs against the Sejuani and Braum stands very, very good. Again, I guess he's used to taking cleanse by this point.
Yeah. What can you cleanse much of Talia? I don't think you can.
It's for the Sejuani, I think.
Yeah, it's for the
Absolutely
Sejuani. Just
Sejuani.
in that 1v1, it's not going to provide that much. I mean, you can perhaps give yourself a bit of a speed boost when she slows you with the E, but it's not going to have the same 1v1 use that it did against the Rise.
No. So what about the Shen Alaoi matchup? Is that expected to go one way or the other? I assume that it's in Alaoi's favor.
Alawi definitely should win that. I hesitate to say these things again.
Ricky seems to be a very, very good tank player, though. I mean, I think the general gist of an Alawi lane is: did she land her test of spirit? Then yes, she wins. No, then she loses, and there's not much more to it. But I'm dubious of the Alawi pick though, because Alawi is a strong champion for people who get on her, who want to engage on her. But this isn't a team who engages on her so hard. Like especially because they're playing most of the map away from Alawi. I don't see it as being the pick they needed that can match Shen. Absolutely not, unless they're not even a bully to make Shen weak.
Ornn was open again, and Ornn did very well.
I believe Ornn was actually banned by Cambridge in the situation of bans.
Bad. Then yeah, without Ornn, then you kind of stuck a bit. I don't think Jez has played very much Maokai, which would be an option you could go for.
I feel like the Riven One trick is not going to be trading on Maokai.
Vladimir would be another option if he played that, but I don't think he plays that either. So
I think any kind of frontline CC tank to, or they already have the Sejuani in the Braum, perhaps.
Yeah.
Perhaps Vladimir would be good as another strong damage source, another carry for Cambridge side to fear, and make a Quan scared of piling onto, make Chocobus and Ricky scared of piling onto. But I feel like Alawi is, I don't know, easily kited out or easily played away from. She doesn't have a lot of tools.
Alawi can just sit in the top lane and push. She's going to have quite good pressure. And again, they do have lots of people diving in with the Shen, Gragas, and Rakan, so she might be able to just focus on taking down those people and let Tristana, Sejuani, Talia try and get the damage on the back line.
Right.
It was very successful for Imperial in game one, where they had the double damage and triple tank comps, so maybe they're putting the weight on their carry shoulders again like they did in game one. It went so well for them.
Yeah, they just need to make space for Kani to do damage.
And really make sure he does well in lane, because the Zyra Rakan is definitely a lane to be feared.
Yeah.
And it's even an airy from Aquan here, so looking for even more early aggression, transferring into a shielding theme, rather than just going straight after shock on Rakan, for example.
That is Glacial Augment for Jez in top lane, though. That's interesting.
Yeah, Glacial Augment is being picked up by slightly more people. It's been buffed for melees, so it's now like a 55% slow for melees.
Is that at level 18?
I believe it's all levels. Not sure. I'm not sure how Glacial Augment works. I haven't played very much with it. Right. But it's very good for hitting that W, because then obviously you're almost guaranteed a tentacle slam.
Yes.
After that, and yeah, with the nurse to Kleptomania, champions are looking for other options. You saw the Grasp of the Undying going flank last time.
5-man Imperial moving into the red side, the red jungle this time, red buff.
Probably
and
just
invading the four-way, looking to play towards. Cambridge are appropriately reacting on the top side, looking to get vision on Icy Monkey's red buff. And I'm not sure that ward is in the bush.
I don't think it is, but it will
won't matter regardless. And Icy Monkey's walk it out.
Cardiff Lexon really likes his minion dematerializers, doesn't it? He's gone for them again on Talia here.
Yeah, it's very useful for kind of controlling your lane, and that's really what Cardiff needs to do to be able to try and get those roams off.
I always thought Rakan was a coin champion, but he's gone for the Relic Shield. Any particular reason for that, do you think?
I'm not too sure. He's always been kind of like 50-50, either of them.
I think Relic Shield is also, but still a more dubious pick, especially given the Relic Shield nerfs, where the healing is halved on ranged champions. So Rakan and Thresh being really hit hard by the nerf when it was already a bad item for them because they don't benefit from the execute damage. So, not sure. If anything, I from the aggressive Rakan, I'd expect to see the spell. Oh, sorry, this is a spell through edge. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. What I'd expect to see from an aggressive Rakan.
We see Comet from the Ziggs. I would have maybe perhaps expected an Airy because you're usually going to be poking with your Q, and that does not have a slow, which means that quite often these Comets are going to be missing. Unless you're trying to poke with your E, which is quite manner consent.
And kind of flexing is moving in on Chocobus in the jungle, looking to perhaps add damage to the buff, or
Johnny will leash blue buff for Chocobus.
Yeah.
The Chocobus is scared now.
No. Yeah. He has no smite, so he's really got to fear the invade from Strani, but he takes it away. And Jez with the push priority does manage to roam down, but doesn't get much more than vision, and I guess it's giving Chocobus quite the scare.
We have Infernal Drake first this game, so we might get a bit more heated action with people trying to take that.
Yeah. The bot lane, I think the level 2 went to the Imperial side, but not much came of it. You can try and get... Both lanes can do them for level 2.
Chocobus is moving into mid lane. He is spotted out by Eoxa. This could be a counter gank. He body slams over the wall, walks it away, gets tagged by the Sejuani, but manages to make it out safely. And the bot lane, we see an engaged by Quan, managed to interrupt the rocket jump. A's way ignited, the explosive shot goes off, and manages to flash away with the heal. So not quite the engage they wanted. The Brawl managed to block huge amounts of damage there.
Yeah. You can't really go in with the Braum directly in front of the Tristana. You need to catch the Tristana away from the Braum. And especially if you get hit by the concussive blows on the Braum.
Combined with the Guardian too, they both become so tanky. You know?
Yeah.
And a lot of Zaya's damage is going to come from pulling those feathers back through her target, and of course the Braum shield is just going to block the feathers. You'll never get the chance to send them back through again. Does cut a lot of her damage out. In top lane, Jez is shoving Ricky in, as you'd expect, but so far he's surviving at the very least. There's no significant CS difference there. But he may have to back first.
Well, I think that Ricky's winning on the CS. He's got 4 more available. So if he gets all of them, he should end up slightly ahead.
But the push priority in all 3 lanes at the moment, Imperial, means the dragon should be theirs for the taking.
As with most of these games, it does always seem Imperial favored in the lanes. Eoxa can really has the option to do what he wants, but even with that opportunity, Chocobus manages to find much better either counters or good ganks that shouldn't really happen if your Sejuani can walk into its jungle pretty much uncontested.
We see Carney using his minion dematerializers to force his Ziggs to stay, otherwise he'll lose quite a lot of farm.
Carney's out of mana now, he's going to go for the first base.
But now he's got the more advantageous B, because he's going back much sooner than the Ziggs is. And with that, he's probably going to end up getting level 6 sooner, which means he should be able to gank slightly sooner.
Lost Chapter's a good base, certainly. Pighead gets the same thing. Jez will base now. He's got the shove as well, so Ricky's hanging around for the moment. Roam from bot lane. Just for vision, though.
They have not attained push priority. It's a very strange roam when they could push the wave first before they do anything.
Not much action from the junglers at the moment. They tried something mid, but it seems that for now they're just happy to farm it up in their jungle. Eoxa's slightly further ahead on the farm.
I believe it also stole the Raptor camp from Chocobus.
Oh yeah.
Big difference.
I really would expect Imperial to go for the Infernal with
a
that.
3-man gank in
moving
the ultimate
up to Ricky, yeah. And Ricky cannot escape. He flashes, and the seismic shove hits Ricky, and he's taken down by Carnif Lexin.
It's a good effort there. He made it a fair bit further back than perhaps he should have, but he will go down in the end. 3v1 gank, especially with the Talia wall. quite difficult to get away from.
But a good response by Cambridge, but while not tracking the initial gank from Sejuani and Carniflexin, they are on the dragon. But Chocobus is low here. He's still level 4, not very strong.
That ward from Imperial paying off now.
And they managed to secure somewhat shakily. No ultimate yet from Aoxa, cannot hard engage here, but here's where he's stuck in the pit. He does not have flash. He's left by his teammates. Huge damage burst coming out, almost taking Aoxa down, but that's gotta feel bad. Your team just jump over the wall. Bye.
Bye.
Nice knowing
See you later.
And while it's worth it for Cambridge, it's still it's very bad when this bot lane is what you should be playing around to have to lose your AD carry like that.
You now have 2 kills on Carniflexin on a very kind of mid-early game.
Something just hits Picker 10. He jumps out with the satchel charge. Carniflexin not able to get that last little bit of damage.
We'll have to see whether the Cambridge team can survive long enough for this Infernal Drake to provide them an advantage. Meanwhile, Carney's going to have an extra 700 gold to try and get kills by roaming around the map.
Yeah, it's absolutely Carney's set up for a lovely game here.
Had Pighead's ult come down into the dragon pit sooner and chunked them all down, I would have thought that they would have wanted to stay to fight it. But I have to confess that it did look to me, certainly, to be the correct thing to do, to just leave Hayes' way to die, because it was a disadvantageous fight otherwise.
If they hadn't all left, the Imperial team wouldn't have ever grouped up like that for the Ziggs ult to come through. So there's no real point staying. It was a good try looking for a kill with that combo, but it was definitely the right move to get the dragon and trade a kill for it.
Was the kill absolutely necessary? Like, was there room for them to walk out?
No, they probably could have 5-manned towards one side of this thing, maybe like just walk with the ball upwards, and you probably get out
absolutely
without dying. But
by
the time they realized that they were in trouble, they were already surrounded. So
the secure was quite shaky as well, needing the Zaya feather core and the body slam, just about grabbing it.
Yes, that wasn't quite timed correctly. The feather call took it down to about 150. Slightly dodgy.
Misty Picker 10 uses ultimate to push out the wave in mid lane, not even clearing the castles. And then ganks from Chocobus on top lane, just using his ultimate. And Ricky is kiting around, walking away. They definitely spot Aoxa and Carniflexin here. Carniflexin uses his ultimate and does not block Ricky off. The seismic shove does connect. And Ricky is caught out, just going for the return damage in Chocobus, but Carniflexin just taken really low, and the lack of a sidestep from Ricky quite questionable. But
yeah, that was quite a noticeable knock up there. I don't know why he didn't step away from it.
That's a
little mistake.
That's just 3 fatigue, perhaps. Yeah, really adding up, which is a real shame because the turn potential was great there, given the amount of damage they were able to output. If the Taunt had landed on Talia instead.
Yes.
But now, Carniflexin really able to push his lead.
Imperial has excellent vision on the top side there. If you just look at all the wards dashed around Chocobus's jungle, they know where he is now and they know when he's going to leave.
We see that Carney went for the magical boots over the stopwatch. Definitely committing to getting the early kills and roaming with them. That extra movement speed should do wonders for his ganks.
Oh, and an engage from Quan and with the knock-up, and Nami so low with the Ignite, the flash from its way, and the heal. Can he get the last auto attack? Not quite, but Ricky ultimate in, matching the Jez teleport, and Jez just not having the same impact that Ricky has here, and Jez, is he taken down? Its way picks it up. Pighead 10 ultimate also coming in, but not quite.
I feel like the TPN from Jez without his ultimate.
Yeah.
Carniflexin he gets a knock on the Quan taken down. Carniflexin on the flank, squashing Cambridge here, and Ricky's taken low as well. Completely split apart, and the question, where's Chocobus here? He's nowhere to be seen. Absolutely, a turn could have been made here if Cambridge was more unified, but they didn't. They were overzealous. They dived well past where they should be when Carniflexin had the roam priority.
They should have I feel they got slightly baited in by the Nami getting low from the Ziggs ultimate. They should have just taken the Alawi kill and retreated.
Absolutely.
Instead of then getting sandwiched between the rest of the Imperial team, and then Carney flexing over the wall, just pumping damage into them.
Counterflex is only getting
with
stronger
the,
at this stage.
Threaded volley.
He's 4-0 now. Taking a BitK gold lead over to Imperial.
He's probably going to be building on Haunting Guys next, give out the entries and get that early magic pen.
Namino,
That's gonna be
jumping away. Very scared of Quan here. Counterflex again, shooting waves and choosing whenever he wants to roam. Is he looking to use his wall on top lane? Ricky getting the taunt. He's in a long fight with Jez here. Counterflex pops in, spoiling the party. Ricky knocks up, and can he escape it? Does he have flash? He flashes over the wall, and there's no follow-up.
Contrary to the last fight, I think there genuinely it would have been very difficult for him to dodge away from the knock-up from Counterflex, and he was stuck running in a basically straight line.
Absolutely. Unless he chose to use his flash early, but saving it to flash over the wall was also a very good choice, and perhaps the correct one here.
So we see that Carney now, just every single time his ultimate's up, he clears the wave and goes for a gank.
It's really important that Cambridge keep a tab on this, because it's predictable play. It's not anything they should ever be surprised by. Ricky should never be fighting there with kind of Lexin missing. And are we seeing a brawl in bot lane? No, but top lane Ricky being taken, poked out a little bit.
Ocean Drake is up now. It'll be interesting to see what priority the team's put on that. Chocobus is there now, but whether or not he'll stick around, I don't know.
Which team do we think uses Ocean Drake better here?
Probably the Cambridge team. I think Ziggs really benefits from the Ocean Drake with his kind of siege playstyle.
Absolutely. And the smite goes over to Elixir for the Scuttle Crab, which will make a huge difference. Ace by forced ultimate here, does not land the Feather Core. The engage from Rakat, and Nami's taken really low, but there's no follow-up damage as the Buster Shot knocks away Aid's way. And a great trade for Cambridge.
Here comes Carney again.
Oh, Carney comes down.
Doesn't have his ult though.
Which the seismic shot does not connect. Picketan is also down to match, but Counterflex always there first. They always get to call the shot and call this off if it doesn't look good.
Ricky does not have much left, much cooldown off his TP, and he is being bullied out quite hard now by the multiple long swords on the side of Jez. So he's really starting to struggle against this Alawi.
Absolutely not without assistance, which is more of what we were seeing. The Gangplank was faring better in terms of the pressure being applied on him.
They probably need to do something perhaps drastic in the top lane, otherwise that turret's going to go down.
We absolutely need to see Chocobus doing something almost, because so far nothing just yet. Matching Aox's plays and kind of flexing. And Picketan uses his ultimate top lane to wheedle down the wave. It will be enough. Jess cannot carry on. Oh, he goes for
he might get it anyway.
The tower kill.
Try.
He's got very low, but
Get it.
Gets the first tower gold, and that's huge on an Alawi.
Solo first tower gold.
Taking it away from perhaps the bot lane advantage that could have been provided for Cambridge.
And now Black Cleaver is a massive power spike for Alawi. He's going to be incredibly difficult to deal with, possibly requiring more than just Chocobus to come top. We see Carney heading bot with his ultimate, perhaps looking for something. See whether he can get a...
They can spot him on that ward though. They should know he's there.
The Cambridge bot lane, kind of a bit more aware of Carney's missing this time than perhaps they have been before.
And they have the vision now, they can go for the Drake, and Cambridge are having to go in blind. They do not know this is going on, and you wonder, what is Chocobus doing? Is he preparing for a gank from Carney? Well, it doesn't matter, Carney's going for the pressure for the Drake.
Yeah, I think Chocobus was hoping that Carney would keep pushing, but he decided he might as well move down towards the Drake.
There's a free Ocean Drake going over to
nothing out of it.
Icy Monkeys.
Things from Imperial onto the Rift Herald now.
We see Shen having to play very far back. He's got no pressure in this lane.
He's 2 levels behind apart from anything else.
Yeah.
He still has the room to make a play with his ultimate, but that would require Cambridge to make a play.
He's probably wishing he had Gangplank at this stage.
And there is so much vision on the side of Icy Monkeys.
This is one thing.
Oh,
they've
kind of
done
flexing
well.
walls it, and the it flashes over the wall. Pighead just manages to escape. Well played there, but again, the vision paying off massive. Oh, and on top lane we see Jez engaged on by Chocobus and Ricky. And Chocobus being brought so low, he's taken down on the Pighead's ultimate. Chunks now he's so low. And can Ricky clean it up? And the final auto does take down Jez, but with a hair's difference. Oh, and Aoxa, can he see Pighead 10? Is he looking to engage here? No. But the mid lane push priority is right over the Carnifex, and Pighead 10 cannot freely wave clear this. Aoxa will just ultimate engage if he sees the opportunity, and he does. But the cleanse out from Pighead 10, well timed. And
That was,
he manages to push them off the tower. No.
Well set up by Ricky at the end there. He did manage to get the Spirit Blade pull back through Jez, which meant that he got the empowered auto attacks, which was enough to finish him off. But it was a close run thing, and slightly unfortunate losing Chocobus. That Alaoi ult does a lot of damage.
Oh, and an engage from Aquan onto the Braum, but he's brought low, but the teleport comes in from Jez, and matched by the ultimate from Ricky, and now it's a full-out 3v3. Ricky is engaged on here by the Jez. He cannot do anything about that damage. Starts brought very low. Nami jumping forwards. Its way, trying to escape, trying to get that last bit of damage. Always annoying when they live on that little bit of HP.
It was a good idea with the kind of preemptive Shen ultimate, just rather than using the shield, just trying to get Shen there. They didn't quite manage to finish off any member of the Imperial bot lane, and then Jez TP's in, and Jez is a much bigger threat than the Shen is, and Shen, having used his taunt, just gets melted by the tentacles coming out from Jez.
And you have to respect the coordination. Oh, Pighead 10 being engaged on here by Carnifex, and he's brought very low. The ultimate is not enough to zone him away. There's stopwatch, and Carnifexen just takes the kill.
Oh.
Maybe this position by Pighead to be on the side there.
Carnifexen can more or less do whatever he wants at this stage. He's 5-0 now. There's no way Pighead can actually stop him in a fair fight. They need an unfair fight if they want to stop him from being able to do things at this point.
Gets a something shove onto Ricky. Ricky brought really low again. They do not seem to have an answer to this Kalia here. She's winning in both the micro and macro sense. Jogba's on bot here, perhaps looking for a lane gank. But Aoxa is clearing out, dropping vision everywhere in Chocobus' jungle.
It's been a consistent theme in this series, hasn't it, that Imperials had much better vision in general than King.
Icy Monkey's absolutely a very good team for vision. And Ricky manages to avoid the dive into here. Very well played.
Meanwhile,
the base though.
Jez just keeping up that pressure in the top lane.
It's quite respectable here, actually, as well, with the Jez teleports matching Ricky with the Shen ultimate, because the Shen ult was the preemptive one, was the planned one, but Jez is reactive, and he manages to land at practically the same time. That's very good awareness and good coordination on Icy Monkey's side.
It's built itself up into a 6k gold lead now. It doesn't actually look like all that much on the map, but from the gold perspective, it's so big. There's 2 towers to nothing. That's 8 kills to 2, and CS advantages for Imperial in the majority of their positions.
And Aoxa knows Chocobus' bot side. He's looking to invade here, but Ricky and Pighead are in position. But Carnifexen moving on bot lane. This 3v2 will not be 3v2 for long.
Carnifexen is 2,500 gold, 2,600 gold.
Chocobus looking to force an engage here, perhaps?
Not too convinced about the blasting one.
Carnifexen is moving over. The Weaver's Wall is available. He uses it to jump onto Aid's way. He's out of position. And he flashes over the Weaver's Wall, managing to escape. But meanwhile, Ricky's taken down by Jez in the tower dive. Aquan tries to engage to pick him off, but it's not enough. You can't kill an Alawi. She'll heal so hard off her tentacles, especially with the Death Dance. And Pighead's stuck moving around, trying to put on the same pressure that Carnifexen is, but not able to. Not on the Ziggs pick. Not the same level the Weaver's Wall can generate.
Nah, and Carnifexen's been playing the wave very well, so he hasn't really been able to kind of capitalize on him not being there with any tower damage.
Oh, and this is a dive. Hayes way taking him out by the Brawl. He just stunned. The explosive shot does not quite take him out, but the Carnifexen lands the seismic shove. He's taken down. Chocobo's hiding under the turret. What can he do? He's stunned out by the Sejuani, and the stopwatch is all but delaying his inevitable death. But some good dodges, but not enough. He's taken down.
That tower's going to go down
By
now.
Saps.
Cambridge can't really get anything back for that. Pighead's not far enough up. Aquan's kind of hiding in bot lane.
Jez getting the tier 2 turret in top as well.
Jez has been absolutely monstering his lane this game. He wants revenge from last game.
We mentioned that Jez can't really get on people, but he doesn't need to get on people if he's just constantly top, because Cambridge need to go to him, otherwise he's just going to end up pushing all the way to their base.
I said he is pulling off some monstrous tower dives now. I imagine the Glacial Organ is helping him pin down the target. Stop them
He's
from moving.
sufficiently ahead now that Ricky can't really stand against him. It'll be Cloud Drake over to Imperial as well. They've not had the best luck with their Drakes this series, but it's been working out for them.
They would absolutely be happier to take perhaps the Infernal Re, or I think the Cloud is strong.
Yeah.
It's a bit late here because Carniflexen would have liked it for his roams, and they also would have really liked it for his map plays. But late is better than never, right?
Yeah. What do Cambridge do now? They've got Jez in the top lane that they somehow need to deal with, and they've also got Carney almost everywhere that they somehow need to deal with. Do they have the tools to do this?
Sorry.
I think you kind of have to fall back into a holding pattern at this stage. You're going to have to accept that Carniflexen is going to put pressure on your various lanes, but you have Teleport and Stand United on Shen. Carniflexen only has the single Weaver's Wall. Jez has TP, but if you engage on Carniflexen and blow him up before Jez can arrive, you can disengage, and that's basically how you're going to have to hold this game. You have to go to the source of the global, and I wouldn't recommend going to
Shenko comes out onto Carniflexen. Eoxid responding. Oh, Akon would be engaged, but does not connect to the Carniflexen. Carniflexen flashes away. Pighead throwing his ultimate, just teleporting in, and Ricky having to flash away. Not looking good for Cambridge. Weaver's Wall blocks off Ricky. Ricky is as good as dead here. Hate's Way also blocked out, but the explosive pass knocks Jez away from Hate's Way. They're trying to disengage, they're trying to run away, but Jez is a monster. He flashes on to Hate's Way. Can he kite out? Can he get the last auto? He does not. He gets taken down by the Harsh Lesson. Such a close fight by Hate's Way. The Death Stance really making all the difference.
That was very close. It shouldn't have been that close, but in the end it works out for Imperial, and they will win the fight.
It's something of a scrappy fight from Imperial, splitting about their members like that, especially the members most easily kited, sent after the AD carry.
It started off well for them because Cambridge piled on top of their tanks and tried to take down the tank line. The tank line is so strong at this stage.
Byron is just going to make
goes over to
Jez even more of a threat. I expect to see maybe a 1-3-1 with Carney and Jez on the opposite lanes, or we might just see like a 4-1.
If Ricky couldn't clear waves before, he can't clear waves now.
I think that the rest of this game is now down to whether Pighead can kind of delay this long enough. He's basically their main tool for delaying this.
Death Bush.
And they're caught out here. Akon's completely taken out. Chocobus also completely blown up.
Insta pop.
The vision control just paying off over time and time again. Cambridge walking blind into so many situations.
It's not your jungle anymore. You can't step into that.
No. You had like a barrels or the Rakan Q that you could perhaps test bushes out with, and you need to be doing that now. You don't. Nowhere's safe without. I think you have no tier 2 turrets left. Anything outside your base is dangerous now.
The problem is with Cambridge's hard engaged, they're the ones who want to be making the picks. They're the ones who want to be securing vision. And he also jumps over the wall, but they can manage to jump away with a good satchel shot. Weaver's Wall comes in, kind of flexing, catching a Pighead. Flick flashes back over the Weaver's Wall, but now this inhibitor tower is just free. All of Cambridge's members stuck on the other side, and flashes down. Half HP. Upon looking to engage, gets the engage onto Sejuani Braum, not the targets he wanted. Jez also charmed, but a wombo combo coming out by Hate's Way. He gets a massive feather call, but taken down by Jez's tentacles, and he flashes away from them, and then he jumps in. And
They were just too far behind.
Well,
Even an insane 4-man taunt followed by the feather call is
That
not
is
enough to.
the best fight that Cambridge is going
Yeah.
to get, I'm afraid.
it's just too late. Yeah, the gold lead's far too large for this to work. And here's where it's taken down by Nami Nami and Akon shortly after. And this is the win for it. Imperial College. And they go through to the final against Extra Thick.
If they were maybe 10k like less behind, I think they were 15k by the end, 20k, then that wombo combo could have been their turnaround, but they were just too far behind.
That's a shame. It was so nice to watch.
And we see when Cambridge could play their comp, it looked nice. It looked cool. It looks really good. But they didn't. They didn't do what their comp was meant to do enough, and they got countered a lot by Jez TPs against the Shen ultimates and by strong disengage from as the Braum making huge difference in the bot lane here. Every time Akon wanted to go in, the Braum ultimate follows, and they can't get the hard engage that they're looking for.
Look at these damage graphs. I'm not at all surprised to see that Jez has fairly comprehensively won this one.
Completely beating down on Ricky all game long.
Jez and Carniflexin both. There wasn't a huge amount of time for the Tristana to scale up and get involved in this whole affair, but the top lane and mid from Imperial really did a lot of work.
It's kind of the result of two scaling comps, except one of them getting a lot more done early game. Like I think the vision control from Imperial is paying off endlessly.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, very good rewards going out from I think all the members of the Imperial team there.
Golf claps for the ward.
Absolutely.
Well,
And I think that's it for us then. We will be getting an interview from the winning team, and we will be getting Sups, the support player, playing Braum in this game. We will have to hold for production.
hello.
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 Congratulations.
Thank you.
So
Congratulations on your long best of 3.
you had a yeah. You had a fairly dominant first game, and then what went wrong in the second game?
Chris was not happy with that second game at all.
Yeah,
That was I don't know. I feel like I have to apologize for the viewers for that one. That was just BM really. Like
I was so happy to see the Electrocute Bard as well.
oh, actually, the Electrocute Bard. That's how you play Bard. Like that's like the highest win rate. Keystone on Bard. But problem is, I don't know. Cassiopeia built what's his face Banshees super early, and Ezreal has a dash. So basically, Bard was completely ineffective. And the fact that top lane was, inting out his mind, as was Draven.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like the first game was just so dominating, so we sort of picked something that was a bit more fun.
yeah.
But obviously, this is the Cambridge top team, and we can't just pick something that's fun against them. Maybe we could against a weaker team, but these guys are actually pretty good. So,
But I mean, what let you down with your let's say with your top laner, whom you described as
so Jez was doing
suboptimal.
well. Jez was doing well, but then he started roaming, and the problem was that we didn't communicate that Alistair was also roaming mid at the same time.
Yes.
So basically,
Did
every
a
time...
very good job of matching.
Yeah, exactly. So anytime he was trying to make a roam happen mid, Alistair shut it down, and as a result, I think Jez ended up quite behind, even though he was ahead at some point. But I think he ended up really behind.
Right. Which you don't want against a game plan.
Yeah, I mean, he could have just stayed in the lane and not bother roaming, and maybe it would have been a different story. But yeah, I don't know.
See. And then brave it through mid game.
Yeah.
Was there much discussion about the Gangplank ban then going into game 3, or was that kind of a given?
That was a given. Yeah, I mean, this guy's obviously pretty good at Gangplank, so
Yeah.
and also we didn't really know what, like, I mean, if you saw our bans in the first 2 games, we were sort of by the third ban running a little bit dry.
Yeah.
So
What was the Zillion ban about?
I think their support plays it, and I don't know, but that was I think Carney wanted to ban that. It's just like really good at shutting down the sort of stuff we want to do.
Yeah.
So we banned it.
Right.
But we
So-
maybe kind of swapped it out for something else. If we needed to.
What would you say is the strength of your team? I mean, we spend a lot of time talking about how well you guys are at warding, but what do you think makes your team you?
Kana flexing in the mid lane.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
All
right.
No, well, more seriously, I think Chris is a really strong leader of the team. But also like the fact that we're able to follow up on everything that everything we need to do. Is basically team coordination. We spend a lot of time like talking about how to get vision and where to go on the map. I think most of the leads we get are in terms of macro play.
Yes.
And vision controls one part of that, but also like roams from mid, TPs, and just general coordination of the team, which you can't really do if you pick int picks like Bard and Trace.
I think Bard should definitely be able to apply as much pressure as now. So come on.
No. Well, no, not when Cassiopeia has. No, I mean maybe yeah, but when Cassiopeia gets Banshees, you're basically
Okay.
no one on our team could proc the Banshees, so
Right.
Yeah.
I have no way of ulting her.
Yeah.
They're quite a
sounds good.
short range team.
Yeah, we had like Rise, and then everyone else was I don't know. It was a pretty stupid game. I
Okay.
wouldn't analyze it too much.
Yeah, how worried are you about playing the superstar other Imperial team extra thick?
Well, I'm actually pretty scared of. I think what's he called? 9 Buksuki 6. I hear his Soraka is something to be really scared of. So that's gonna be a toughie.
Okay. Have you got any special preparations ready for the probably the toughest challenge of your life?
Well, I'm polishing up my Blitzcrank. You might see it. You might see
Yeah,
it.
for context viewers, this is we're actually listening here to 2 of the players from the teams who will be playing in this final, Extra Thick and Icy Monkeys, of course. So a little rivalry going on there. Whose BM is on a better level. We'll be seeing that game later.
Well, as an outside source, I think I have to give it to Extra Thick on name points, but we'll see who actually wins when it comes down to the gameplay.
As outside casters in us, there are 2 of us only. But where would you cast your vote? We have the players here to listen. Where what would you say would be the winner of this final? Yes, I see.
I think I it's tricky. I think I have to give it to Monkeys. They looked so good with the vision and Carniflex in doing horrific things to people.
Yeah.
I think I have to give it to them on trust, but I didn't see Extra Thick play today. It'll all come down to how they match up together and how their styles match up together against each other.
Absolutely.
With the BM aside, I'd give it to Monkeys still.
Evan, you're on
Yeah.
Extra.
Maybe seven times out of 10, Monkeys will win. But that's not saying that it's not going to be one of those 3.
You're going to demoralize your team.
Well, I think your team's gonna have a few words with you when you get back about
Extra
safe.
Thick is a very instinctive team.
Yeah.
just-
Okay. I hope to see very instinctive limit testing plays in this
Yes.
final. And
You might see lots of those, and if
That's
they go
absolutely
well,
fine.
then I think we can win. But perhaps if our limit testing plays fail, then it might be hard to come back.
Right. Intentionally feeding does always suck. So I think that's it for us tonight. Thank you all for joining, and that concludes the semi-final match between currently Untitled and Icy Monkeys. Icy Monkeys moving into the final against Extra Thick, which the date and time for that will come out later when we are aware.
I'm gonna go eat now.